If a woman does not feel safe, if a woman has to take decisions, if a woman has to manage the life and has to plan for the future, if a woman has to provide, if a woman has to think of all these things, she's better off on her own, because she can be married to herself. That's all I can care for. And sadly, a lot of men are losing their masculinity. But crazy enough, like, they think a man is okay as long as he's big, he's got his body going on, he's got his looks and everything. They think that's what a man is. But I can get that done in Thailand for like 5,000 dirhams, to look exactly like you. That's not what a man is. A man is a man who takes care, provides, respects, acknowledges, listens, is there, is present. It gives you safety. And safety doesn't mean that if a dude wants to beat me up, you're going to go beat him up. That's not safety, Sure, great if you can do that, but safety as in like emotional safety, communication safety, giving me a safe space to be myself. And when that's not given to a woman, she changes, and then the man gets upset. Why are you changing? Why are you being cold? Well, that's because you're not being man enough. You're not doing what you have to do,
Put me on the stage. Can you guys hear me okay? Here? Do we have sound? Basic sound. Do I have sound going through here? No? Hold on. Oh, you do? Okay, we're good. I just want to make sure I've got audio, because I'm in my studio right now. And actually, let's just over and make sure we're good to go. All right. We got sound. We're good. We hear you. Good. Okay. Excellent. Let's continue.
Been raised without any accountability. They're told basically they're perfect just the way they are. Society tells them they're great. Hear women roar. Women can't lie. Me too. All this other bullshit that's going on. Women have basically been put on this pedestal, and then men are conditioned also to put women on pedestals, so that these women go into these relationships not as partners, but they go into these relationships as tyrants. You cannot love a woman into loving you back. And here's how you know whether a woman loves you. It's whether she respects you or not. If you express your opinion and she's always pushing back on it, she doesn't love you. And you're not going to be able to get her to love you back because you keep loving her more, or because you take more of her bullshit. She's going to lose more and more respect for you. The only chance you have of saving a relationship like that is when you start having boundaries for yourself, including willing to leave her ass. If she knows you're willing to leave her ass, she'll start to change her behavior. Accountability is what saves relationships, not love. But when she senses that, she's going to have respect for you. And if she has respect for you, she's going to be attracted to you. And if she's attracted to you, she's going to love you. And if you want to see how you measure up as a man, go to the link in my bio.
He's a cheater! 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 Look at the cheater. Turn around for your fans. He had a 2-year affair while I had his second baby. We intentionally had a second baby, and he was having an affair the whole time.
Still want to get married?
Increasingly large number of women who are just choosing not to get married and are choosing to stay single. There's a mating crisis going on, and that women who are becoming increasingly college educated and, getting access to resources of their own, that they do continue to exhibit an increased preference for partners with resources. Women are what we call hypergamous, right? Which means that we like to mate up.
I'm sorry, what was that word again?
In terms of achievement and educational attainment. And when you have a populace, like we do in the US, of women who are now on average more educated than men, it makes it more difficult to find a suitable partner. If you're a woman with an advanced degree and you want somebody who has at least as much education for you,
yeah, not so much.
That's going to lead to a more narrow pool of mates. And in fact, what we see is that there are an increasingly large number of women who are just choosing not to get married and are choosing to stay single. And in fact, there's a wonderful book called All the Single Ladies that is about this.
Yeah, by Kate Bollock, and it came out in 2012. I remember this one because it came out right after my book, or actually after I started the show, I started my blog. Kate Bollock, still a spinster.
It's a very phenomenon. And women are increasingly choosing to opt out of long-term mating if they're not able to find the relationship that they want.
Ooh, I cannot believe she dug that one out of mothball.
Excuse me? Could you give me 3 things you love about each other?
His pension, He does the laundry, and we work separate shifts.
She's getting better looking as she gets older. She's thinner than me, and she doesn't hit me anymore.
And how long have you folks been married?
29 years on May 13th.
So after 29 years, what would you say is the key to maintaining a loving, happy relationship?
Separate bedrooms.
And how'd you folks first meet one another?
She bit me.
I did not bite him. He bit me on the shoulder at a work party.
At a Christmas party at work.
And the rest is history.
It's history.
And plus her dad said no returns.
And what are your names?
Kirk.
Katie.
Kirk and Katie, thank you so much for your time, and I wish you many more years of love and happiness.
Thank you. I die sometime in June. I just don't know how yet.
Y'all ready for that? And this is how you get to that phase.
You don't fight is the battle your kids are gonna fight. Let me just talk to the men in the room. Your inability to confront lust means your son's gonna have to fight that battle. Your inability to confront insecurity means your daughter's gonna have to fight that battle. Your inability to break the cycle of divorce and addiction off your family means your kids are gonna have to fight that battle. And I'm here to announce to you that it's time for you to begin to arise and fight. How many more generations is the enemy going to take out in your family till you stand up and say enough is enough?
Hallelujah.
Ready for that?
One of the things that I learned, because I fucked this up so much, for a man to feel fully in his power and in his masculine.
By the way, that's why you don't allow women to preach in your church. The end.
That is his power zone. The things that women can do to mess that up is you can criticize your man, you can control your man or try to control him, or you can close down your heart. If a man can't feel her softness, can't feel her vulnerability, no attraction.
Yeah.
And if a woman tries to control her man, because most men want to feel the ability to have total freedom, not good. And if a man feels criticized, if you're constantly trying to make him your project and this is what's wrong and let me make you better, ain't gonna do good.
Ain't gonna do good.
I just came to the realization why I'm single.
Well, I'm a whore.
Every guy that I'm like, oh yeah, he's attractive. Okay, this is not supposed to be offensive, but I see their wives and they just look like so like, you know, like not like this, just like, you know, like I pretend my tattoos are gone. Dude, I look crazy. Like that's why guys don't want to wife me up. And I just come to this realization today. See? Or maybe it's because all of them see me eat sushi after I get out of the grocery store in my car with my bare fingers and drink sweet tea.
That's nasty.
Oh no. Guys, I thought these men wanted like, you know, big, strong, tough girls. I don't know. I feel like all of them are like super girly, and all these guys are like, yeah, that's my girl. That's just like housewife stuff. And I'm over here like, I own my own business. I'm covered in tattoos. I'm a little spazzy, but that's okay.
I just
we embrace
battery acid.
But yeah, I don't think any guy's gonna wife me up because they can't take me seriously. And I just realized that.
Major malfunction, numbnuts!
Damn.
Gonna be with you because you didn't find anyone better in the last 2 years.
Right. I don't want to be his backup plan, you know.
Not even his backup plan. I don't want to be the person you come to because suddenly you realize I'm great. Right? Love is a decision. Commitment is a decision. You don't commit to someone because you go, I'm never going to find anyone better. Because then what happens if you do? You commit to someone because you say, I feel it in my bones, I want to be with this person and I'm going to go all in with this person. And whoever comes along in my life from now on, it doesn't matter. It's not about whether someone's better or not. It's about the fact that I've decided to build this relationship.
Yeah. Okay. Last one.
I've been thinking, and will you be my girlfriend? Will you be my girlfriend? Girlfriend.
Yes.
I feel bloated. Can you tell me I'm pretty? Do you miss me? You never spend any time with me. My stomach kind of hurts. Oh, I want to go shopping. Can I have your card?
What the
What the? Oh, all right, guys. Welcome to another Shining Edition sponsored by, well, fueled by Devil Mountain Coffee. Yes, it is actually Devil Mountain. Well, why are we in Red Tuesdays? Would you like to see the other camera? Here we go. Yes, got him back there finally. Well, first and foremost, I got the this is my personal studio. This is at my house. Welcome into my humble Chateau Thomasy instead of Chateau Artiste. I have some explaining to do. So I wanted to do a show here for a while, just to sort of like, break it in, I guess, and see how the lighting works and how the multi-camera setup works. Rebuild the background hexes. I still have them. I probably could do that. They would look pretty good, like right over this way, wouldn't they? Yeah. Thanks. I actually still have them down in the cabinet right now. Get to the point. Okay. What would you like to get to? What point would you like to get to? The reason I'm here today instead of Red One Studios, which is really just a little bit off the strip, primarily is because I screwed up. I messed up. Yesterday I was at the gym. I was lifting not terribly heavy. I was doing a back day. Oddly enough, it was a back day. But I usually do. I split my workouts. Would you like some? Would you like some health and fitness? You need Devil Mountain Coffee. Yeah, I do. Oh, you want me to put that up there? Sam, I'll throw it up there in a second. No, dislocation. No, gosh, how can I say this without like looking like a complete idiot? So I was at the gym, and this was not Powerhouse. It was our local one that we have here in the community. And I live in a area called Rhodes Ranch, and we have our own kind of gym that's here. Well, it's not as nice, and it's not as well stocked, and it's not quite Powerhouse. And if I was a smart monkey, I would have gone to Powerhouse instead. But I was there, and they have a rack of easy curl barbells, and the heaviest of them all was on the ground, and nobody had re-racked it. And from the looks of everybody around there, I was the biggest dude in the whole gym, which you might expect. So I went down to pick it up, and I did not use my legs, and I should have. And so I threw my back out, and I jacked my back up pretty bad. And I'm sure Sam Bada is going to give me all these holistic healing methods here in just about 5 minutes. So I threw my back out, more like I ganked my back pretty bad. I've done it before. And it's funny. I'll tell you it's funny. Whenever I get an injury in the gym, it's never from the lift. It's always from racking weights or pulling them off. Like I do this constantly too. Like if I'm doing boulder shoulders, right? And I'm doing shrugs, and I have to be very careful. I almost never do this anymore. But if I'm doing dumbbell shrugs and I'm pulling off like 100-pound like dumbbells, so I can do one of these things, I have to be really careful there, because I'll pinch. I'll totally pinch if I don't do it that quick. So it's almost always racking or re-racking the weights is when I get injured, and sure as shit, that's what happens. So that's why I'm here today, simply because I'm not sure I could have walked from the parking lot to the studio. So, but I'm doing all right now. I'm okay for a couple hours, maybe 3 hours, just sitting down. And last night was really tough for me because trying to get to sleep with a back injury. And no, I don't. I won't. I did get it checked out. What can you do, right? So this is the end of Swole. This is not the end of Swole. You know what's funny is I feel like I could probably do like flat benching, no problem, right? Because it's completely the weight's this way, not this way. Do more drugs. Well, you know what's funny is people hit me up and the first thing Kyle says is like, he's like, hey, you want to get high? Do you want to go smoke? I'm like, no, I'm good, man. I don't need any weed. I'm good. And then it's like, well, do you want some CBD gummies or something like that? So I'm trying that out a little bit. Mike said I should get, and I've done this before, BCP 157, which is a peptide. I've done it before for you guys don't remember when I had my shoulder injury. But thank you, Sam. Sam's already throwing like, what is this? Bone up. I don't know what to think of that, Sam. So I threw my back out and I might have thrown I don't know if I throw a disc. I've done this before, not quite to this degree. I've actually had lower back injuries before, but like not like this. Not like I can't walk from the gym back to the car. And thank God I was in my truck and not in my Camaro because I would have had to lean down to get into the Camaro. But yeah, BCP, I have used it before, Mr. Kush. I think I might even have a couple of vials left. But it takes so much and it takes so long. You have to like be really, really consistent with it. And I don't know that I'm like that consistent with it. But then of course everybody's like, oh yeah, you want some OxyContin, you want some Vicodin. I'm like, no, dude, I'm good. I'll thug it out so I don't have to take that shit. So the only thing I'm on right now is naproxen, and I've been kind of like going between naproxen and ibuprofen right now. So we'll see how it happens. We'll see how it goes. I don't think I need any more than like the CBD and that. So we'll see how it goes. But I wanted to give you guys a sort of this is like the grand tour of the studio. This camera right here will end up being the Ned cam once I move his bed into here. So that will actually have the return of the Ned cam. Let's see. This fixes a broken bone in 2 days. Really? I don't know if that's true. I don't know how that works. Yeah, Icy Hot's another thing. Mike Sartain says, you got to go do a cold plunge. I'm like, I'm in enough pain, man. I might use the hot tub after this, but see how it goes. But anyways, just wanted to make sure that I still gave you guys a pretty good quality show today. And I think it's all right. I like being in here. It's almost like the old studio. I kind of want to dress up the curtain. There's a window right here, so I got to kind of put something on there. And then I think I might do the hexes right up in here. There's my other guitars right there too. So I think that might be a good spot to drop it in. So yeah. You look like your grandma. Why don't you post a picture of grandma and we can all find out? I love how people like think that that's an insult to me. You must have a good looking grandma. I'll tell you the other thing is the reason why I when people start throwing shit like that, you're old. And I also love it because I also know it's you shit stains from DG, or was it DGG? Because you know I'm going to talk shit about Destiny today, don't you? You're already in the chat. Yeah, your mom's jacked. Your grandma's jacked. All right. Yeah, tell her, call me Grams. No, I kind of wanted to start the show on that today. As a matter of fact, I don't know if you guys are aware of what's going on with Destiny right now, but apparently he's got at least two criminal. I don't know if it's two. I'm not sure that Pixie actually filed, but I do know that is her name Kyrie or Sherry or something like that. Several women have come out recently after the sort of amateur porn. Would you call it that? I guess the recordings of sexual activities. Let's see if I can do this in as nice a way as possible. Have you read Bronze Age Mindset? I haven't read it, but I know the dude who wrote it. So anyways, Destiny's in a lot of hot water right now, as in like legal hot water. Sherry, is that how it's pronounced? I don't remember. Man, the wolves are circling, man. The vultures are circling. Sorry, somebody told me wolves don't circle, so I guess I have to say vultures are circling right now. It doesn't have quite the same effect. There's blood in the water and the sharks are circling. How's about that? So if you haven't watched President Sunday, I've been watching the last probably couple of. I watch him occasionally if it comes up in my feed. I like him when he's talking about things I can sort of relate with, which is his entire channel is almost like dedicated to like bringing down destiny, which hey, please do. But when I made a video. I made a video about this back in November, I think, when the leaks first came out. And that's when so if you're wondering, is Rollo going to talk about this? I already have. I did it back in November. I knew about the video leaks from Kiwi Farms. Funny how Brittany Venti decided to just sort of exit the scene. 3 weeks after that? Looking a little sus. Then you've got no word and nothing out of the mouths of Lauren Southern, nothing out of the mouths of, I shouldn't say that. Jasmine Jafar is like low key kind of like throwing Destiny under the bus. How so? With stuff like this. The only one who cuts off deranged streamers off for their behavior before it became cool. Yeah, sorry, Jazz, but maybe you recall this, maybe you don't, but I can remember a certain sort of deranged, unhinged streamer who would pay for your flights to go to whatever podcast with Pixie, one of the girls who is accusing him of, let's just say, SA sexual, because I don't know if it's necessarily. I'm not sure what the actual charge. I know it's a criminal offense to record somebody's sex acts without their knowledge and or distribute them without their permission or their consent in the state of Florida. So he's already committed at least one felony and possibly more, depending on what Sherry has to say. But I think it's funny how Jasmine Jafar, who's been nothing but supportive of this son of a bitch, now she wants to throw him under the bus. Well done. Well done, Jazz. And then also, I think it's kind of sus as well that Pixie is the one. I just got this from President Sunday. I'm just relating this. But apparently, it's not necessarily extortion, but not so Erudite has been brokering what I would call hush money between Destiny and Pixie right now. And Pixie needs enough money to go to law school. I wonder where she got an idea like that. I wonder where does she have this burning passion to become an attorney? Maybe an attorney who decided she didn't want to be an attorney and then decided to show off her big tits and decided that she wanted to be an OnlyFans model because there's a whole lot more money in that than being an attorney. Where could she have gotten that notion? I'm not sure. No, also in the leaks and everything, if you look at you look at the people who are involved in all of this, which obviously Lauren Southern is. It's all over the tax leagues. Then you have Farah, who still hasn't found her prescriptions for her lenses yet. Jasmine Jafar, all of these brilliant minds who in some way were involved with Destiny and most likely were fucking him or sucking him or whatever the fuck it is. I have no idea, right? Then you've got Pixie, who actually, and I'm going to stop the truck here for a moment. Of those three, Pixie was the one I thought made the most sense. I kind of liked Pixie, and maybe with just her delivery or something like that. But Farah was an annoying bitch, and Jasmine was an annoying bitch. And now that we see where the money was coming from, I love how all of a sudden, when the election is over, as I said, November 6th, everything changes. I love how all the roaches scatter when they turn the lights on in the kitchen. And that's what's happening right now. They're all scattering. Same thing with all the DGG fanboys. And only the most pathologically unhinged are still have Destiny's back right now. But they have to, again, I'm paraphrasing President Sunday here. They have to sort of measure that. They have to balance the messaging, the narrative, because if he goes down, they look bad. If he stays up, then he's going to come after them, right? He's already been quoted as saying that if he goes down, he's got dirt on at least 20 other live streamers right now, and if he goes down, they're going down with him. So if you're one of those 20, you're probably like shitting your pants right now. But no, as far as what I've been able to glean from all of this, it's all over. If you're wondering where's Rollo getting all of this, it's all over YouTube. It's all over Twitter. If you'd like me to quote sources, I'll be happy to. But my main source has been aggregate source has been President Sunday Show, and he's been on top of his game for a while. I think he's accurately called Destiny for his just being a pathological personality, if not a sociopath or psychopath on top of that. So he brought this up. There was going to be some sort of exchange to keep Pixie quiet, but he couldn't talk to her directly. So he had to go through Not So Erudite, who is psychopathically, connected at the hip to Destiny, and has been for quite some time right now. And the reason I'm bringing this up, you got to remember here, these were the same two people who back in August of last year decided that they were going to spread the lie, not the rumor, the lie that I had some sort of alt account on Twitter that was this racist, bigoted, alt account, neo-Nazi, alt account. And I'm like, where the fuck are they getting this? And I have to go back and I have to go and refute all this stuff. In fact, the guys whose account they were trying to say is mine, that guy to this day is still saying, this is not me. I'm not Rollo. Rollo's not me. And we have proven this in so many different ways. There's still stupid sons of bitches on YouTube right now who will probably see this little clip right here, this little part of the show, and they'll go, well, let's go and look at the evidence. Well, the evidence is there is no fucking evidence. The evidence is that Destiny and Not So Erudite have to, this is part of their MO. It's been their MO for a long time, which is we got to find some way to discredit this guy. We got to find some way to shut him up. And if I'm saying it's like right now, I'll guarantee you there'll be some sort of retaliation. If it's not from Destiny proper, it'll be from his Destiny Twitter bots, or it'll be from his DGG community, which is going to rapidly evaporate very soon. So you've got at least two allegations. If not, I know that there's one criminal charge that's been filed by Sherry. So he's already, I don't know why the cops haven't come and dragged his ass away, but I don't see how it's not a cut and dried case. But there might be more women who he has a history with who will be coming forward. Now, the other part of this is like, if you're something, this is me speculating, I'm spitballing here, but if you're someone like Jasmine Jafar and you fuck Destiny and there's a video of it out there and you've got other girls who are like saying, hey, he, taped me without my permission and then started spreading it. And the reason why he did was because he wanted to give it to another 19-year-old chick to show his like how fucking jacked he was or how fucking good in bed he was or whatever. I don't know. He's like flexing his amateur porn collection to convince some new 19-year-old to come and do the same. So, Jazz, you're on the fucking hook for this. I don't care whether you decided to bug out early or bug out late. It doesn't matter. Like you are forever attached to Progressive Victory. You are forever attached to Destiny. You're forever attached to all those Twitch, autistic spurgs that hung out with it, that thought that they were going to, just ride the clout train until it ran out of gas. And you know what? Once Progressive Victory stopped paying the bills, that's when you went on with Mike Sartain, and that's when you went on with Farrah, and that's when I made sure I got that question in. Were you taking money from Progressive Victory? I plead the fifth. Well, I think we know what the answer is right now. I think we're pretty well established. It's funny because as soon as that money starts drying up, man, as soon as that Progressive Victory is a DNC, the Democratic Political Action Committee, and they were all part of this. What was it? Sam Drzmala was the ring, or he's the guy that started the PAC, and with the express intent of buying influencers like Destiny, like Jasmine, like freaking Farrah, and made them all sign NDAs. And so they can't say shit, or they got to take the fifth, and maybe they can talk now because I don't know if Progressive Victory is even a thing anymore. But trust me, every time you guys go on whatever podcast, every time I see your fucking faces, every time you tweet, I'm going to remind you of that. You took money. Your voice is no, we can't trust anything you have to say because in the past you have taken money and been the mouthpiece, the fucking sock puppet for your political operative, for a political action committee. And every time I see you, I will remind you of that. So if I ever see you on a show, if we go on Jubilee, if you come down, you decide to, sack up and come out to fucking Vegas again, I don't care if we're on a Twitter, a Twitter space, whatever. The first things out of my mouth is, where's the money? How much money did you take? Well, how much did they pay you? Because I'm going to remind everyone that any word that comes out of your mouth, same with Destiny, same with the rest, same with Erudite, same with the rest of these fuckwits. The moment you start to open your mouth, I'm going to say, where's the money? What'd you do with the money? And we'll have that conversation every fucking time. Just bet on it. Don't come on the show if you don't want to talk about it, because that's how it's going to go down. Got it? Good. So why Destiny just for the money? Yeah, I know, but that's funny you should say that, because when you look at the dude, you're like, how does, like, every time I have this conversation with Justin Waller, Justin's like, who the fuck is fucking this guy? And I'm like, to me, it's got to be, dude, let me tell you something here, dude. You are going to go away. Bye. Anybody, and trust me, anybody who tries to impersonate me in my own fucking chat, that's a permaban, instant permaban. No, I was gonna say is like, everybody's just dumbfounded, like who could want to fuck this guy, right? And honestly, when you look at the type of chick and the type of people who want to be a part of his sort of circle, for lack of a better word, his cult, that's more or less what it is. And by that's not my words, that's like even President Sunday's words, right? Yeah, sneaky fucker game, but up to a point. After a while, like I mentioned this when I talk about Tate or the Tates, I've mentioned this on other like strong personalities. The thing about a cult leader is it's not the cult leader's fault in many cases. Like if you look at someone like David Koresh, if you look at I'm trying to think of what is it, the Bhagwan Rajneesh. Nobody remembers who that is. You look at Jim Jones, right? You look at classic. Any cult member or a cult leader that you can sort of name for me, it's a cult of personality for sure. But the thing is that I will guarantee you, in the history of that guy, that cult leader's personality, they started with one personality and they became something else, and they became what their cultists, their cult members, expected them to be. So a lot of times I am more concerned. I am more, terrified, let's just say, not by the cult leader, but more by the expectations of the cult on that cult leader to become what they want him to be. So if tomorrow red pill is not the buzzword of the day and it's anti-Semitism or it's crypto or it's whatever, it doesn't make any difference. Like it could be anything. The moment the winds shift amongst the cults, that's when the cult leader is going to be what they expect him to be. That's exactly what went on with Destiny. I guarantee it. And the other problem is like, this is what happens. This is what happens when you give a guy who is a functional autistic and a pathological sociological sociopath, you give them just enough like of a platform. And I'm doing it right now, right? I have my own podcast. I've got my own little studio going on in here. I got the big studio down wherever. At no other time in history could I do something like this. The thing is when I'm going to be grandpa here for a moment. Uncle Rolo's going to tell you a story. Come and sit on my knee, sonny. Back in my day, when I was in high school in the 80s, we would call you perma-virgins. We would call you, well, actually, that's even probably more like 90s. We would call you losers. We'd call you geeks, nerds, whatever it is, right? But those guys didn't have an access to a worldwide platform. They had to go and to get out of that status to become something more than they were, to go from being sort of zero to hero. it's all throughout like the comedies of like the comedy movies of the 80s. You have like sort of the nerdy guy like Anthony Michael Hall from, you know, Breakfast Club or whatever, you know, punches, hey, I'm a good guy after all, right? The nerd guy, at least there was at least a motivation or a hope that guy could be more than what he is. Like the Jeff Bezos, great example is Bill Gates. I don't care what the fuck you think of him, but he still fits the archetype. Same thing kind of with Steve Jobs a little bit, but these were guys who were nerds who, if they hadn't come up with what they did, they'd be living in a trailer park. They would be the stereotypical kid that's living in mom's basement, stroking off to porn and smoking weed and ordering Uber Eats. Like, because that's what we have available now. Back then, we did not. Nerds. Yes, I remember the movie. Thank you very much. But there had to be like the motivation to get out of sort of the loser status into the winner status. That was something that at least a fair percentage of them actually did. Like they would say, you know what, I'm tired of being a loser. I'm going to get in a band. I'm gonna write code. I'm gonna make the next invention. I'm gonna, you know, solve the world's problems. Right. I'm gonna do something that's going to put me from being a zero to a hero. Like if you look at like Jeff Bezos, which by the way, I'm gonna talk about again later on in this show. But if you look at like some of the pictures of Jeff Bezos, when he like even like prior to Amazon, right? When he first, you know, decided he was going to do, was it late 90s, I think, when he decided to do Amazon. And Mackenzie Bezos is there and she's just as nerdy and dorky as he is, man. They're perfect for each other, right? But if he had never made a profit, if he'd never become like Jeff Bezos, he would just be this nerd, you know, from the, you know, 80s, 90s, whatever, and nobody would remember his name. But he did something to bring himself out of that. The thing is today, because we have platforms, because we can find ways to go to a forum and commiserate, because you give access to a platform or a Discord server or a YouTube channel or Twitch that you got kicked off of, or you have the capacity to create a cult. You have online, a virtual cult, but cult nonetheless. People, if they're sending you money, does it matter? You're fucking chicks and recording the acts and then hanging on to that. I wonder why. Why would you do such a thing? You know, it's funny is people criticize me for when Brittany Venti decided that she was going to like try to impersonate one of her boyfriends and try to convince me that he had nudes of her, right? The part of that she left out, and I've done 2 shows on this already, so this is not a shock. But when she was impersonating herself and she was sending me these sort of anonymous emails at the time, she was like, "Oh, I think I've got some nudes. You know, do you want them? Whatever." I think she's 17, right? Like low key. I'm like, "Nope." I said, "No." I have the email to this day. I said, "Nope, you keep." That's when I got like suspicious about the whole thing. I said, "No, you keep those. I don't want fucking anything to do with that shit." And of course, that's the part that she left out of her fucking videos. And now she's long gone. She's poof. But the reason, like, you look at, like, say, Destiny, the guy was trying to basically burn me for doing exactly the same thing that he's doing right now. And that's really their MO. Like, that's a law of power, right? Accuse your rivals, accuse your enemies of doing the same fucking thing you are. So that when it comes out that you're doing that thing, it's like, well, he's just accusing me because he couldn't come up with anything else, right? That's a law. I forget which one it is. So there's a law of power. You know, you're accusing your enemy. Maybe it's 33 strategies of war. It's a strategy, right? Accuse your enemies of doing exactly what you've been doing. So when it comes to light that you've been doing that, it seems like that guy is trying to make it stick on you. That's exactly what he did. And that's exactly what he's still doing right now. And now it's coming to light. And now the fucking chickens have come home to roost. Now the wolves are circling. So what's this? Wait a minute. Do you still think Pearl will get hired by Daily Wire? Her awkward personality wouldn't fit in. She makes Ben Shapiro look like Eddie Vedder. There is no one on planet Earth that can make Ben Shapiro look like Eddie Vedder. Do I think she's still going to get a job? I think the likelihood is higher now, honestly. I'll tell you why. Because Brett Cooper's gone. And they threw in Brett Cooper's, was that her manager or something like that? I forget who it is. Like whoever was her understudy, whoever was, I think it was her manager or was somebody she was working with, like her producer. Now she's running the show and she has the same hands. I've seen so many like videos on this. She's got the same hand gestures and she has the same vocal intonations where it comes up and down. It's almost like she has been studying Brett Cooper to be her. Like, I want to be you. I want to wear you like a skin suit, you know? And she's just not Brett Cooper, right? That's the whole thing. And in fact, all of Brett Cooper's fangirls, they're just like Taylor Swift. They're like Swifties. They're Cooperies. They don't want to have anything to do with it. She's a poor, facsimile of Brett Cooper. Well, there's going to come a point, I believe, when the Daily Wire is going to go, okay, fuck it, just wrap it up, fire this bitch too, and let's try something new. Well, they're going to want something that is at least in some way female driven, because like who else do they have? What other females do they have? Not Candace Owens, she's gone. Brett Cooper's gone. It's only Ben Shapiro, Matt Walsh, Jeremy Boring, but he doesn't really have his own show. Does he do content? I know he shows up to some of the discussions they have. Andrew Klavan. Who else is there? Do they have Allie Beth Stuckey now? Maybe they got Allie Beth. I don't know. Allie Beth Stuckey has gone from PragerU to The Blaze, and I'm thinking she's either solo now because I saw her at Turning Point USA, but she might be. I don't know if they gave her a contract or whatever, but she might be. Brett Cooper is a TradCon grifter. I'm not pulling for her, but I think that if they were to successfully replace Brett Cooper, Daily Wire would do that. And I know for a fact that she has pull at Daily Wire because either I don't know whoever her manager is, used to be at Daily Wire, and that's how she gets in and gets shows with Michael Knowles. So she can sit there and look like a deer in the fucking headlights when she's having a debate with Michael Knowles about religion and marriage and everything else that she really desperately wanted to have with James Sexton, but never worked, did it? Yeah. Anyways, do I still think that she'll get her? I think the possibility is higher now than it was before. What do we have here? Finished your first book last night. This is going to be my year. Damn right it is. Wait. Here, you know what? You get one of these. You're goddamn right. And reading this book is just the start. Losing weight, and I feel that monster coming out good. Rage. Use it. Anger is a gift. A comment on an old Andrew Klavan video sent me to this channel. Really? Well, good. Was it my comment? So, very rarely have I ever commented on. I don't really comment that much on YouTube, come to think of it. Good. I'm glad. Well, welcome, brother. Welcome to Rollo's Roughnecks. Are male feminists like Destiny and Justin Baldoni? I would argue Destiny is not a male feminist. I think but he plays the role on the internet. And Justin Baldoni running Harvey Weinstein game, or do you think these 304s are just making false allegations? Okay, good observation, MCD. You comment so much, I have to give you your own little 3-letter acronym. Okay. First order of business. I don't think I would not say, like, a lot of people are going to like fight me on this, but I think Destiny is far more pathological and far more of a sociopath. Let's just say, if he is a feminist, it's in name only, so he can align himself. He's a cuttlefish. If he's a male feminist, it's in name only. It's a means to an end, and we know what that end is now. It's to get some chick to suck his dick so he can video it, hang on to it for whatever reason. Remember, like, what would you do? Like, if you were to hang on to, if people hang on to amateur porn. They shoot the porn themselves. They shoot the sex acts themselves. Why do you hang on to that? What do you want that for? Maybe. Okay. You could probably make a point for that. More often than not, it's blackmail. It's, hey, even Destiny says so. It's like, hey, if I go down, 20 other people are coming with me. That sounds an awful lot like he wants to hang on to, I don't know, some nudes so that he can use them as extortion in the future. That would be another purpose for hanging on to those. Or the last reason I can think of is so that you can convince a 19-year-old chick to want to fuck you because look, all these other chicks have fucked me. Why don't you? Here, I've got video proof of it. Those get leaked and the rest is history. But couldn't happen to a nicer guy, man. I will say this. I will point this out is that I underestimated the severity of Destiny's like vitriol. I know the guy, it's like weaponized autism, right? The guy will go to any fucking length. And I will tell you right now, I like President Sunday. I would watch your back. I don't know you personally. I don't know where you live. I don't know what the whole thing. I like you well enough to want to sort of bring your name up on my show, but I've experienced it firsthand. In fact, I experienced it just a few months ago when they're trying to like come up with scurrilous rumors that I'm in some way, in charge of an alt account on Twitter and I'm actually a secret bigot, which is laughable to me until I have to go and talk to one of my best fucking friends named Big Mo. Where's Big Mo?
Tell these bitches to go to hell.
And explain to my friend Big Mo, who I love like a fucking, I would cut my hand and be his blood brother. I love the guy that much, right? Fellow musician. And I got to go and sit there. He's like, I know this shit ain't true, right? I'm dude, why are we even having this conversation, right? Same thing with Fresh, same thing with Myron, same thing with God knows who else. I mean, Jevani Sanders, Trey Little. I mean, let's just, shall I keep going? Fucking Donovan Sharp. Who else should I keep going with? It's absolutely stupid, but yet here I am having to fucking defend I didn't even defend myself that much. I just felt the need to at least talk to my friends and say, this is bullshit. This is what this fucking dumb kid is capable of. Why? I don't know. I had no idea why I'm suddenly the target of all this bullshit. Maybe it was just amusement for all I know. But I do know this is that's the level of fuckery that they're willing to involve themselves or to dedicate themselves to. Now we also understand that Lauren Southern did in fact fuck Destiny, did in fact have this almost psychotic, borderline personality disordered relationship with the enemy, right? I mean, he's like as opposite of her, ideologically as you can possibly get. And you look at these transcripts between the two of them, and it's like they're like middle school kids, man. I'm just like, what the fuck? And now I know why they went to such degree to hide all that, to the point where they had to use the politics of personal destruction to fuck with me in the summer of 2023. Now I understand. Because you didn't want that come out. He didn't want to get divorced. He didn't want whatever. Clearly, there had been a prior friction between Melina and himself before all of this. And I'm bringing it back up. And all I was doing was reading, Lauren Southern's ex's, transcriptions and exchanges that I had. I'm like, where the fuck is all this coming from? Well, I got too close to the psycho. That's why we got to shut this guy up. Well, let's find some dirt on him. Can't find any dirt on him. Let's manufacture it instead, which is what they did. That's the degree that he'll go to. And that's one of my concerns for President Sunday. That's one of my concerns for the people who are going to who are already like the rats leaving, abandoning the sinking ship. Just like fucking Jasmine Jafar is trying to play it off like she always knew. You didn't know shit. Or maybe you did, and that's even worse. So anyways, Justin Baldoni running heavy Harvey Weinstein game. What's interesting to me is when you put, this kind of goes back to my prior point, when you put there's always that doubt. I think. I know what it was. It was Pixie was tweeting. And Pixie has me blocked, which okay, whatever. I mean, maybe I'm a dickhead, but like one of the things that Pixie tweeted like a couple weeks, maybe a week ago, was she thought that all the red pill guys were going to just like take Destiny's side. I'm like, so if you unblock me, man, I'll contribute to your freaking law, your attorney fees, man. Are you kidding? Enemy of my enemy is my, my friend, right? But that was the first thing out of her mouth. She thought that the red pill dudes were gonna say exactly this. Or do you think these 304s are just making up false allegations? I am generally skeptical, but in this case, considering the players, not at all. Same thing with Justin Baldoni. Like, but people start saying the same thing to Mike Sartain. They're like, do you think? I say, you can't take Blake Lively's word of face value, whatever. I'm like, well, first of all, it's Justin Baldoni, and I know how fuckwits like this like operate. So that's one thing. I understand their game. It's cuttlefish game. It's sneaky fucker game, right? And guys like that, the reason why they would get into trouble, let's just say, in the way that Destiny and in the way that Justin Baldoni have, is because they only know one form of game, or they've only ever used one mating strategy in their entire life, and that is to identify with women, to identify with the feminine, because on some level of consciousness, they think, or they have internalized the idea that to be more like a woman is to be more attractive to that woman, which is actually the complete opposite, right? Opposites attract, not likes. And so the more like, remember, I've been critical of like Destiny saying, well, the ideal man should be just like a little bit more masculine in his energy than his feminine, right? Again, it's that stupid bastardized version of Carl Jung's anima and animus, right? And using that as a form of game. So when you wear your emotions on your sleeve, when you wear your feminist ally on your sleeve, and you're identifying with that, and you're trying to make yourself more feminine, and you're trying to make yourself more like a woman, and be a good listener, and be more sensitive, and do all this shit that you think women want you to do, right? And then basically creating a personality that is now your authentic identity, that was originally created because you thought that this is what women wanted. By the way, I should say that's a very classic, common story for guys who sort of break out of the matrix, right? Guys who have to go through a trauma, they have to go through a crisis, they have to be at they're on their last nerve to actually think, well, maybe what I believe, maybe what I'm doing right now has always been fucked up. Well, that's when they come to the red pill. And I hate that it has to be that way. But human beings in particular, but most people don't learn without trauma, crisis, or fucking pain, without punishment, whatever that means. I'm not saying you should deserve. Yeah, I'm not saying you deserve it. There's no deserves got nothing to do with it. But most people don't initiate change unless something fucking hurts. Got this in Powerhouse Gym. This is one of the reasons I absolutely love Powerhouse Gym in Las Vegas. Hide Yamagishi and Iris Kyle, they have all these motivational like quotes that are all along the top, just before you get to the ceiling, it's on the walls there, right? And it's mostly from I think all from like famous bodybuilders, right? And I don't know who to attribute this to, but one of them was, if it doesn't hurt, it won't grow. And it's like, that's not just about bodybuilding. Or pain is temporary, pride is forever. Again, I don't know who that's attributable to. Or Arnold Schwarzenegger is, the worst thing I can be is the same as everybody else. But I like that one. If it doesn't hurt, it won't grow. It's the same thing. Like, most people won't initiate change in their lives unless something hurts. Unless it's gonna, like, it's one thing if you could have, if you could be motivated from one state to another by really good, like happiness, or by great feeling, like good emotions would move you from one state to an even better state. How fucking great would that be? It doesn't work that way, because if it ain't broke, don't fix it. That's usually how people sort of live their lives. And so they have to go through a point of crisis or a point of trauma. And then when they do that, that's when they take the red pill. You're not going to see Destiny is not, he's too psychotic. He'll never admit it. It's funny. Destiny almost lives, or he almost acknowledges in his living it out, the red pill. In fact, what's more ironic is that all the shit that was going on with Pixie and all this other shit that was happening was in the same was at a story arc, the red pill story arc that he was supposed to abandon. Like I remember him being on like Adam Sosnick's show talking about how, I'm leaving the red pill story arc. Yeah, right around there. That's when he's fucking around with Pixie. At least that's the timeline that I got. So you are more than willing to go check it out yourself. But I don't necessarily see it as sort of like Harvey Weinstein game. I think because Weinstein would be like pay to play. Maybe Destiny is. I wouldn't say Justin Baldoni is, but Destiny maybe pay to play. You want this role in this movie? You got to suck my cock. That was it. Pay to play. Maybe that's Destiny. You want my endorsement. You want my clout. You want my blessing. Then and submit. Which they did. These wonderful, powerful, strong, independent, liberal, progressive women. They bowed down in more ways than one. If that don't red pill you, I don't know what will, but apparently that, was too much for Destiny. Destiny's too full of himself to acknowledge any red pill stuff. He's too full of them. He lives in a reality distortion bubble. Same as Steve Jobs, same as a lot of like pathological personalities, which by the way, I am painfully aware of over the course of my 23 years in the manosphere. I can pretty much identify a pathological personality because pathological personalities tend to draw other pathological personalities into their orbit. So the most dominant, strongest personality in that little pathological world is usually the one that sets the tone or sets the narrative for all the other ones that are in his orbit. And that's more or less what happened. MCD is not so erudite playing Ghislaine Maxwell in this parody. Yes. She's the one that's she's the go-between. And now I've seen the interviews. I've seen the back and forth, the talks where she was just saying, like, oh, Pixie's my good friend, blah, blah, blah. I have no doubt she is, but you're still running defense. You're still running interference for Destiny. And essentially, this is my take on it. Perhaps I'm wrong. Allegedly, this is my take. I'm not saying this is gospel truth, but when Pixie wants to have money to go to law school and basically will take a payoff to keep her mouth shut from Destiny, that's hush money is what that is. And Destiny can't do that directly because if he does, then it's an admission of guilt. So he's got Erudite, who is his greatest sycophant, and she goes there and says, well, how can we work this out? How can we keep you silent is what it is. Now I'm glad Sherry or whatever her name was came up, and there's probably going to be more too. So it's not just going to be her. But what that does is it makes Erudite an accessory to the crime is what it does. She's now an accomplice. Oh, there was a crime committed, and on the behalf of the one who committed that crime, now you're trying to pay off the victim of that crime, or at least be the go-between to enable that. You are now an accessory to that crime. Do you not know how this works? I don't know maybe you'll get a slap on the wrist and go pick up garbage on a freeway somewhere, but you're an accessory to a felony now. And maybe you didn't realize that at the time. And now, of course, what she's doing is she's trying to sort of distance herself just like everybody else is and still trying to I'm doing some soul searching. No, you're not. You're not doing any soul searching. Fuck you. The other part of this, and I just got this from President Sunday yesterday, is Pixie made a big mistake in doing so. If she takes the deal, I don't know if she will or she won't. Because what happens then is that now if Pixie takes the deal and says, okay, I'll take X amount of dollars so I can go to law school. And, but prior to that, I was suicidal. Prior to that, I was, I'm being hounded by all these guys because of the leaks and the videos and everything else. The problem with that is that now she's owned by Destiny because he's the one that gave her the money to do all that. So giving the money for her silence makes her look, it puts her in a much weaker position if she ever wants to file charges in the future. And it also gives, it's a bargaining chip that's on top of that, right? So he can always say, hey, I'm the good guy here. I'm the one who extended the olive branch. And so he always has a chip. If she accepts it, I don't know what the story is up to this point. And that's why I'm going to drop this right now, because I don't know enough about this to speak knowledgeably about this. I'm only sort of relating this third hand from who I've seen online, from what I've been able to gather on Twitter. I suggest anybody who has any more curiosity about this, go watch at least the last 2 weeks, 4 shows of President Sunday. Good shit. And I think he's on right after my show. So check it out. Anyways, let's keep going. Rella, can you explain getting women to do favors for attraction using Ben Franklin effect on women? It depends on what you mean by the Ben Franklin effect. Getting women to do favors for attraction. You mean like sexual favors? Or you mean like going and like, I don't know, pleading on your behalf? I'm not really sure what I would need to know what the favors are, and I would need to know like what's your definition of the Ben Franklin effect. And if it's what I think it is, it's like it's charming the ass off of these chicks, right? But I need a little bit more info on that. Give me the boundaries talk. Oh God, really? Do we discover them and walk away from the chick? Do we embody the boundary? And how do I apply the boundary? Okay. I just brought this up with my Reignite group on Wednesday. So I have a Zoom call. If you're part of my Reignite group, you get to be in it every week. We talked about boundaries, and a lot of people like I think there's kind of mixed opinions on how to enforce a boundary, how to establish a boundary. Most guys don't even think about, like, they're already in a relationship. They can't believe that some chick is sucking their dick. They can't believe that they're already in a relationship, right? They don't think about establishing boundaries because to do so is confrontational. And they just got into this new girlfriend. I just got this new relationship with this girl. I don't want to fuck anything up. Well, my opinion is this. If you want the Rollo Tomasi take on it, I'll give it to you. Boundaries mean fuck all unless there's teeth in the boundaries, unless there's an actual punishment involved in that. Okay. Let me go back to your thing here. Do we discover them and walk away from it? You mean her boundaries or your boundaries? Do we embody the boundary? How do I apply the boundary? Okay. So yes, you embody the boundary, but I will tell you how, but you got to know how you get there. I'm not a big fan of communication solves everything. You should just, it's open communication. No, it's not just not that you communicate. It's what you fucking communicate. And by the way, there's multiple ways to communicate. Women sure should know this: subcommunications, innuendos, dirty looks, facial expressions, what you wore to the club that night. There's women get more information, like are more well versed, let's just say, on communication than men are, and that's a researchable fact. So, like, yay, team woman, you're better communicators. Well, not necessarily better, but you have more avenues of communication than most men do. Unless men can, but they have to practice it. It's not like innate to our psychology. Can men be as good a communicator as women? Yes, but they have to go through a process of learning what comes innately, more naturally to women, right? It's the same thing as like when I say, well, you know, mathematics, STEM fields, those kind of things. Like little boys can throw a rock or a ball with more force and more accuracy than a girl can. Now, can you teach a girl to be a really good little league pitcher? Yes, you can, but not as easily as you can a boy, because boys have an innate facility with that. It's just evolutionary, right? Can women throw rocks and little girls? Can little girls, you know, throw rocks and baseballs and stuff like that with a good force and accuracy? Probably the force part, no, but the accuracy, you can teach that, but you have to teach that. Whereas for men, for boys, it comes more naturally. Now, same thing might come can be applied to communication for women. Okay. So there's the innate side of things, and then there's the learned side of things. When it comes to boundaries, I'm of the opinion that women have to cross those boundaries to learn what those boundaries are. And that's just part of the discovery process. So like for me to sit and say, okay, I never want to see you do this. I never want you to wear that. I never want you to hang out with that bitch. I never want you to go on a girls' night out to Las Vegas. I don't want you to do just run down a laundry list of your boundaries, or just address them as they come up. Women want to play the game. They don't want to be told that they are playing a game. And as I said before, boundaries have to be painful. There has to be a punishment for crossing that line. And the moment you establish a boundary, and that woman crosses that boundary, and you don't enforce the punishment and the consequence, like most men won't, because they don't think it's their right to have any standards, much less any boundaries to enforce those standards. Once you do that, then you're a paper tiger. Then she loses respect for you. I guess, especially if she had a strong father and her father would fucking put his foot down and lay down the fucking law, and you don't. And she's waiting for the hammer to drop and it doesn't drop. And so you had this long discussion about boundaries this and boundaries that, and you don't enforce those boundaries. So my next point is this, is that if it's something that she I usually pair the boundaries talk with innate, natural, genuine desire. Okay, so you have to take in the desire dynamic as well. So let's just give you an illustration. A woman, or your girlfriend, your wife, whatever, says, "Hey, babe, me and the girls have been planning this girls' weekend to Las Vegas. Don't worry, we have nothing to worry about. We're just going to go and be girls. It's girls' weekend. We're going to get our nails done, go to the spa, blah, 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 blah." And you know goddamn well that her girlfriends are all single and she's in a relationship with you. Yeah. So you're even in the back of your head, you're probably going, well, I'm not really comfortable with that. So no. Right. And if you vocalize that, then now you are an insecure guy because you don't trust her, or you're insecure in your quality, in your sexual market value, in your being a high value man, right? Well, high value men wouldn't worry about that. No, it's whatever. The thing is that it's not about any of that. It's about her desire to do that. So once she asks for permission, once she's bringing it up, what she's saying is, a weekend with my girlfriends is preferable to a weekend with you. Because if I'm the primary, if I'm the one that this woman wants to be with, that conversation doesn't even come up. I mean, if she wants to go out and have, drinks with her friends or girlfriend, I'm not a tyrant. I'm not a fucking jailer. Fine. But the thing is if she's asking for, because she's knowing with the pre-knowledge, the foreknowledge, that it might upset you. And so therefore she's going for permission to ask you if she can go and do these things. You're already put in a really tough place. And so my advice, such as it is you say, yes, honey, you go have a good time, have fun with your friends, go do what you want to do. And then don't say anything else. Most guys will go, but if you do, this is the ultimatum part. If you do, then you're out of my life. Don't say that. Do not say that. Say, go have a good time, whatever. She's gone. She takes off with her friends. She's jumping on the plane, whatever. Pack up all her shit, put it in boxes, put it out on the porch, put it out on the sidewalk, change the locks, put her on read, whatever you got to do, ditch her number, whatever you have to do. She's your wife. You might consider papers, whatever. I don't know. But the reason why I say that is because I'm saying this for effect, by the way, is because if when she comes back and she says all her shit here and the locks are changed, that's when the pain of the consequences comes into play. That's when, oh shit, I did something wrong, registers. And the thing is it's not even so much like wrong or right or there's not ethical considerations. It's the fact that she wanted to. The fact that going off and doing that was seemed to be a better idea or more desirable than being with you. And as I said before, when it comes to the desire dynamic, right? It has to be complete. It has to be total. I brought this up on Access Vegas one time. I said, I want a woman that has such desire for me that she will leave her family, renounce her religion, quit her job, move across the country, and stay with me. To sacrifice, how much does a woman sacrifice to a guy? It's never expected. It's the other way around, as a matter of fact. Most guys will sacrifice everything so that they can please that woman. And that's really kind of the narrative that you'll get from TradCons all the time. We've heard it over and over again at the TPUSA convention thing. You have to make her happy, and you can't have any video games until you do, right? All that is sacrifice, sacrifice, sacrifice. What is she sacrificing? What do women sacrifice? Nothing. Absolutely fucking nothing. So that desire has to be that complete. It has to be that total. And how do I know that it's that total? Because the thought, the concept of, I wonder if it's crossing a boundary if I go to a girls' night out with my girlfriends. Maybe I should ask her. That's not even a blink of a synapse in her brain. That doesn't happen because you are so much a better deal and so much a better experience than that it would never even be conceived in her brains, right? That's the totality of the desire. And I'm going to talk about that here. That's actually the main topic of today's show. So we'll get to that here in a minute. But how do you apply that boundary? You have to make it hurt. Do I pick up and walk away? Well, it depends on what boundary it is. I can't really tell you if it's like, oh, she left her toothbrush on the counter, or she, didn't do one thing that you're expecting. Or I don't know, whatever it is. I have no idea what the boundary might be. So by order of degree, okay, I don't know what the boundary is. So for some guys, they got their boundary is she's got to be in a fucking burqa all the time. That's not one of my boundaries. It's never been a boundary for me or my wife. I'm happy when she dresses sexy. I like to look at my wife. I think she's hot. But maybe that's different for other guys, right? I don't know. I think you have to understand. I think most guys don't even ask themselves what a boundary would be until something comes up, and then it's too fucking late. Recovering from surgery, binge watching Seinfeld. The blue pill is real. Thanks, Swallow. Yes, that's another show you will never watch the same way. Friends, Seinfeld, Frasier. God, kill me. Oh my God, Frasier. Even Cheers, like it was the late 80s, early 90s Cheers. Wow, it's a horror movie. Yep. Do you think Pearl? Oh, okay, we already covered that one. Why don't females? You mean women? Have the ability to make sense. They do have the ability to make sense. They absolutely have the ability. They're just not doing it with you. I think if you're going to ask me the question, I brought this up last week, between instinct, emotion, and reason, they prioritize emotion before reason. Can they learn to do the opposite? Yes, they can. That's a great thing about human beings, man. Neuroplasticity. As I was saying before, can you teach a little girl to be a good little league pitcher? Yes, you can, but you have to teach that girl. You want to know why women will go, whenever I bring this up, whenever I say instinct, emotion, and reason, I say men prioritize instinct, reason, and then emotion. I'll get laughs from women. They'll be like, you know how emotional men are, like witches around the cauldron, right? Well, the reason why that's their experience is because we have conditioned generations of men to do that, to prioritize emotion before reason. That's why, when Nicholas Cruz or one of these kids shoots up a high school or something like that, they go, where's the father? Where's his female teachers? Because they're the ones that told him to express himself. And that's exactly what he did. He was angry and he expressed himself with an assault rifle. That's how he reached out. That's how he was expressing himself emotionally, ladies. and you taught him that. So if you see guys who, and by the way, Justin Baldoni is a product of that. Destiny's a product of that, to prioritize feels before reels. Every fucking episode of like what is it, Man Enough? You are man enough? We are man, whatever it is. Justin Baldoni's like positive, his state approved masculinity channel. The dude cries on every fucking one of these things, right? And why? Because he has been taught and conditioned over the course of his life, which he's almost 40 years old, right? For the last 40 years, has been conditioned to put feels before reels. What do most men, in our natural state, do men do that? No. We're much more rational. We prioritize rationality and reason. Our gray matter. Would you like me to do triune brain theory again? Men, when we communicate information, we communicate content. Women communicate context. They communicate because it makes them feel good, because it's pleasurable to, and for guys it isn't too, but it's just like we prioritize information. Where's the caribou? Where's the woolly mammoth? Over the hill? Okay, let's go. How are we going to kill it? Oh, we're going to use spears and rocks, and we're going to drag it down and take the meat back to the tribe. Okay, great. Instructions? Yeah, we'll put them on the cave drawings over here. Right? For women, it's just like pleasurable to be, communicating in the first place. Can you teach a guy to communicate like a woman? Yes, we've been very, very good at it ever since the sexual revolution. Ever since we started trying to convince young little boys from the time that they were 5 years old, raise them as if they're defective girls. That's exactly what I mean. Well, Camille Paglia, but that's exactly what's meant. Yes, we raise our boys as if they're defective girls. That's why you constantly run into emotional men like Justin Baldoni. That's how you get him, by raising boys as if they're defective girls. And then you get a defective woman, you get a man who is a defective woman, and that defective woman is Justin Baldoni. You just grew him up. You just grew him up to 40 years. The 5-year-old Johnny, 5-year-old Justin Baldoni, he's now 40-year-old Justin Baldoni, and he's a defective woman. So much so that Ryan Reynolds takes notice of it and makes fun of you in his movies. That's how bad it is, because he's prioritizing emotion before reason, and still will, because that's what pays the bills, because he's been rewarded. He's good looking, right? So he's been rewarded for aligning himself and identifying with the feminine. And if you had a Justin Baldoni who was this, 6'3" land monster who was 400 pounds overweight and looked like a linebacker, his grift is not as effective. I'm going to go out on a limb and say his grift is probably not as good as the good-looking Justin Baldoni. So he's been rewarded his entire life for identifying with the female. He doesn't know any other language other than putting feels before reals, emotion before reason. But in our natural state, men put, there was a time, I know it's hard to believe, there was a time before the sexual revolution where boys were taught that they've got to think about stuff and think about consequences and think about impact and learn math and learn science and learn fucking marksmanship and learn whatever else, right? Learn. As I said, the reason is the slowest form. Learning a martial art takes time. They don't just give you a black belt. If they do, you get killed. Yeah, music was good back then. Was it? Okay, when was back then? 70s? 80s? Or are you talking about like swing back? Because I do like swing music, by the way. The 40s, that was good too. Or enlist in the army, right? Yeah, that's when you get a Dylan Mulvaney. Yeah, well, that's the most extremely absurd outcome of what I'm talking about. You're actually become a woman. That's how you get trans men who become trans women. Whatever. Honestly, I think it's a mass psychosis. I don't know if I'm allowed to say that, but that's how. If you want to follow it to its most its most absurd conclusion, that's how you get that. And here we are. Justin Baldoni just didn't make it all the way. He didn't want to cut off his nards. Oh, geez. Okay. So with that said, now I can finally move on to stuff. So I got into I put out, again, as I do now and then, I put out a tweet, and the tweet was, go, there we are. Hopefully it'll be in my inbox here. Oh, good. People are like rebroadcasting me. Why? In Brazil. How nice. I put out this tweet earlier this week, and once again, it's a social experiment, so bear with me. But let's see, where was it? Actually, let me go look at my profile. Everybody's like sickened by my thumbnail today. Why? I've done worse than that. I was wondering, like, am I going to catch shit for doing this? I'm like, nah, I put up worse than this. Let's see. Here we go. Okay, so I put out this tweet, and I think I'll just share it with you real quick. And this is it right here. Okay, so I put this out. When did I put this out? Like 2 days ago? Yeah, 2 days ago. Better an honest slut than a lifetime married to a woman who settled on you. And people started losing their minds. They either love this quote or they hated it. And of course, everybody wants to add something like, God forbid you put some pithy little proverb on there, because everybody's got to put some, well, yeah, but shut the fuck up. Just fucking read it and move on. I'm going to read you one of my most definitely my highest trafficked blog post in the history of the Rational Male. But I want to sort of gauge some of the reactions here. Like let's see. She becomes honest because the previous men ended up giving her a pass. No, dude. I've dealt with girls like this when you don't give them, like, everybody thinks I'm like speaking to their specific fucking problems here. I'm not. This was just simply a truism, right? An aphorism. Pook was really good at aphorisms. People overreact to Rolos better than comparisons. They are shocked that the idea of choosing a slut, but it's just an example, right? Yes. So would you prefer a lifetime with someone some nagging harpy that doesn't even like you, that the real choice it's illustrative, not something to clutch your pearls over? Yes. Thank you, John Malbec. You get the prize today. There you go. You get the Twitter prize today. And by the way, if you quick side note, no, I won't put it up on screen, but it's a quick side note. Somebody put I forget what it is with the problem with Twitter these days is everybody's like sort of like engagement farming, because you can get I don't think I've made more than $50 off of Elon bucks, right? Off of Twitter will pay you if you have like really high engagement tweets, they'll give you money for it. I have no idea what the algorithm is. I don't know what you have to do, because I have had some like close to 1 million views, and don't think I've ever made more than $75. And that was like the highest I've ever got was $75. And Ryan and I, it's like a running joke, and all the people we hang out with. So what happens is people want to throw these like one sentence questions up and then just engagement farm, right? And one of those was, do you believe in God? Right. And I'm sorry, man. I couldn't help myself. And so I quote tweeted it, and I said, I talk to him every day. Do you know the reference? I understood that reference. Well, congratulations. I'm glad you're well versed in Megadeth and heavy metal, 80s metal. And so some people got it, and then they started feeding it back to me. They're like, do you support the system? I go to court when I have to. And so I just had this long. But the thing is there just a smattering of people like picked up on me being sarcastic and me like the irony of whatever. Everyone else in that thread was just like, oh, really? Let me tell you how great it is to be, a Christian or a Muslim or whatever. And it's just, they take it so fucking seriously. You cannot even humor, sarcasm. I don't even want to call it sarcasm, right? You can't have an inside joke. You can't have an allegory. You can't have an aphorism. You can't have hyperbole. You can't have prose. You can't even quote fucking lyrics on Twitter without somebody taking it as literal as they possibly can. So let me explain something to you. Looking at the camera right now, not all of my tweets are so fucking serious. I'm not here to try to change your life for the most part. And if I were, I would do it with my books. I would not do it with a fucking tweet. Okay. Sarcasm, irony, hyperbole, prose does not translate, and certainly doesn't online, and certainly doesn't translate on Twitter. So don't take everything I post on especially on Twitter seriously, and especially on Instagram too. God. Anything that can be taken literally will be taken literally. So anyways, I'm going to show you a few more of these here. We call this an open secret. Okay. So everybody, I love how everybody wants to like tag something onto this. And I guess maybe that's the purpose of Twitter. For me, the purpose of Twitter is to have like sort of like a conversation, but apparently I'm wrong. They both sound like horrible nightmares. I would never get with a woman who was a slut, and I would never get with a woman who was a horrible. I was her second choice. Well, good luck, Red. Have a good life. False choice. That's all it is. This is my favorite. False choice. Okay. From an egg account, right? Why? Why is that a false choice? The first one is an oxymoron rule. Now that joke I get. Make another iron rule for this preference. Both are taking what they can get. I love how, like, remember when I said that if you don't tell people if you give people data, or if you just, this is technically giving people data. If you don't give people data, or if you just say something that seems like authoritative, maybe that's the word, and you don't tell them how to feel about it, they will insert the feeling for you. They will hate you for it, or they'll presume you meant something that you didn't mean, and then they'll insert their interpretation of it as what you must have meant. I'm like, fuck, man. Yes, Twitter is toxic. You are 100% correct about that. I'm wondering if we should be banning Twitter instead of TikTok, which they will never do. Just saying. So, but as part of that was as part of this thread, this is what I was actually referencing. I have a post here, and I want to, this is really my jump off point here. I think I'll just, actually I'll put it on screen. Hang on. This is from a post that I put up a very long time ago, and it's called Saving the Best. And I'll try to move along as quick as I can through this. I'm not going to read the whole thing, but it'll give you the gist of what it's about. This was from December 3rd, 2013. So that'll give you an idea of how old this is. Roll as a grandpa. Yeah, well, okay. Let's see. To start off today's topic, I thought I would repost a Reddit. This is from a Reddit thread back in 2013. I received a link to back last week. Rather than give you my own summary of this guy's situation, I felt the impact would be more significant by posting it in its entirety. And also because I don't believe the guy really got a fair hearing on his original post. So this is actually the follow-up to his original post. All right. So this is not me. This is the experience of a guy, and you'll get it. Okay. I posted this earlier on another subreddit, but it ended up getting removed because of fighting in the comments. You'll understand why in a minute. I'll sum up what happened thus far. I met my wife 7 years ago. She was extremely picky when it came to sex. She told me she only has been with one other guy before. She would never give a blowjob, only do certain positions, and found almost every sex act degrading. I was frustrated by this, but I really liked her, and I hoped over the years she would open up sexually. Over the years, it never got any better, but I learned to get over it. This is a very common story, by the way. Guys who get into these situations, they get into a relationship with a woman, and they think they're getting that woman's sexual best. That's why I called this. That's why I called this saving the best, because even today, there's this presumption, and I think this is really kind of one of the points of contention that people have with body count. I don't think most guys, like when it comes to body count, like I've said, I don't care what the fuck your body count is, right? But I think one of the reasons why body count is such a point of contention for guys is because it's almost like retroactive cuckoldry for these guys. She's been with these guys and she must have done this with them and she won't do that with me. But you would think that because I'm her husband, it's till death do us part. We're supposed to be husband and wife forever and ever. Amen. And yet she's not having sex with me as freely as I think she probably could. Like there's a suspicion. This was back in 2013. Okay. So we didn't have OnlyFans. We didn't have, I mean, there's online porn, but it was commercial porn. And so there's this presumption that if I'm marrying this woman, that I'm going to be the best sex she's ever had. She's going to be the best sex I've ever had. We're not going to hold. Our lives are an open book. And if I'm into, having I want to reverse cowgirl with this girl. She should know that. And my boundaries, right? She should know that. That's not necessarily ever the case, but certainly not in this case. So, but most guys will get over it because they gaslight themselves. Like they don't expect more. So, well, I ended up finding an old video from her college days of her engaging in group sex with 6 other people, 5 guys and 1 girl. Now remember, this is 2013, so the likelihood of this is that this was like a VHS tape, or it is actually like an analog tape. Okay, so it's 2013, and she would have been in college. They've been together for 7 years. So it would even have to have been produced 7 years prior to that. So we're looking at like the early 2000s. So the odds are that this is like from like an old VHS tape of some sorts. Okay. Meaning there had to be somebody shooting this too. It's not a selfie. It's not like, hey, let's do like Destiny and just take a video, my iPhone, and we'll shoot it that way. It's 6 other people, 5 guys, 1 girl. In the video, she has anal sex, oral sex, gets double teamed, and yells multiple times in the video, I am a filthy whore. All of it was enthusiastic. Through all of it, she was enthusiastic about it. I ended up feeling really sad. I can understand certain stuff people don't want to do, but it wasn't the fact that she didn't want to. It was the fact that she didn't want to do them. But it wasn't the fact that she didn't want to do them. She didn't want to do them with me. But every other guy she was with, was their whore. I was angry, hurt, and I ended up saying some stupid shit to my wife. Maybe it wasn't so stupid after all. I asked her if she could drop our daughter off at her sister's house because I wanted to talk to her. She asked why. I told her we'd discuss it after she came back. I don't remember all of the details of the conversation, so I'll try my best to sum it up. I was drinking a bit and she came, which wasn't the best idea. Is there anything about your past that you have been hiding? Her. Why are we talking about this? I just want to know, were you in any type of porn or anything like that? Her. Are you taking drugs? I found your video from college with the other guys. I don't know who you are anymore, and I feel ill being around you. She starts crying. Do you have anything to say? She continues to cry. This was pointless. I go grab my keys to leave, and she tries to stop me. If you don't want me to leave, then I need you to be 100% honest with me and tell me why you lied to me for all these years. Her. I didn't want you to think I was a slut. Me. I would have been perfectly fine if you told me. I would have loved to have done those wild things with you. Look, I get it. I don't turn you on like those other guys do. You like sucking their dicks, but not mine. She. It's not that. I didn't want you to think less of me. Me. No, it is exactly that. There's a thing lying about sleeping with other guys. It's not that you didn't like doing those things. You didn't like doing them. You didn't like doing them with me. I can do that stuff for you. I'm attracted to you. You know that. Me. I don't want you to do it because you feel like you have to do it. Again, here we come back to genuine desire versus obligated compliance. Because what this exchange up to this point is a negotiation of genuine desire. She didn't want to do it with him. If she did, she would have. If she would be more into it. She would be more. There'd be acts that she would want to do with him. Okay, I don't want you to do it because you feel like you have to. I want someone that actually desires me. And this is the crux of the entire argument here. I can change. I promise. Don't ruin our marriage over this. We can work things out. We can go to a marriage counseling, which is last stop before tool. Seriously talk to me. Marriage counseling won't change how you feel about me. Look, I will try marriage counseling, but I want a trial separation for now. Can you imagine being the marriage counselor and saying, well, you see, she's been in this porn with 6 people, 5 guys and 1 chick. And I'm just trying to figure out, how do I get her to do that with me? Like, imagine trying to, but you're the marriage counselor. You're trying to sort that shit out. Please don't do this. Don't throw away our marriage for what I did in college. Me, stop fucking acting like it's a one-time thing. Be honest with me. How many guys did you fuck before me? Now here comes the jealousy part. This is like the retroactive cuckoldry part, right? She hasn't fucked around on him. She hasn't cheated on him. I remember they weren't married when this went down, but the jealousy and the mate guarding instinct kicks into gear here. Be honest with me. How many guys did you fuck before me? How many dicks have you sucked? And how many guys have you let fuck you in the ass? Why does it matter? I said, I'll do them with you. Me, I am so fucking lucky. I got married to a whore that fucks like a prude. That's the freaking money shot right here. Please don't waste all of our marriage for this. I'm willing to change. Me, I'm not divorcing you, but I want a trial separation for now, and I want to see how things go. Right now, I feel sick looking at you. I ended up leaving my wife trying to stop me. She kept on begging, saying I could do anything I wanted to her. It was truly pathetic, and I lost all respect for my wife the way she was trying to manipulate me with sex. I'm staying at a motel right now. I've been getting constant calls from my wife. She has been asking me where I am. If I tell her that she is going to confront me, and I don't feel like I'm ready for that. I feel so fucking drained. I feel bad for saying all those things to my wife, but I don't know what else to do. I'm so fucking hurt over this. As I said before, I wouldn't care if she had a promiscuous past. Seriously, wouldn't care. But the fact that she did all those things for other guys and doesn't do them for me hurts me to the deepest. I don't see how this marriage can be recovered. I can't change her. Can't change her attraction to me. My father has recently been diagnosed with a tumor in his lung, and that's already been stressing me out plenty bad. Okay. I don't know what happened on all that. Please tell me exactly what I can do. My confidence as a man has been destroyed. Before I found out about this, I tried to get my wife to open up sexually, but she completely shot it down. I really believe she isn't attracted to me in the way that she was to those other guys. That's why she felt completely fine with being their whore, but won't give me a blowjob. I want a woman that looks at me lustfully, not that has sex with me to fulfill the wifely duties. I don't feel entitled to other types of sex with my wife. I want her to want to do them. Now, even if she does do them, it will be out of guilt, not out of desire. As I said, anytime you negotiate desire, it only leads to obligated compliance. And that's what he's getting at in this. I don't see how we can recover our marriage. I feel really shitty that I won't be able to see my daughter as much, especially during her younger years, yada, yada, yada. Okay. So that's it. If you want to read this, it's Sammy, if you'd be so kind as to put the link in there. And I go into a little bit of detail, like what he was talking about, but rather than read that to you, I'll explain. So when I put that tweet out, I did so because that's this guy's experience in this scenario here is more and more common now. Like back then, you want to know why this was the most one of the most trafficked blog posts I ever put up at the Rational Mail, was because it's got the salaciousness, don't get me wrong, but enough people experienced something very close to this, right? And now remember, it was much more rare back in 2013 or back in, because remember, they've been married for 7 years. The incident probably occurred somewhere in the late 90s to early 2000s. And here's the other part. She held on to the tape. He could only found it if she was hanging on to it. How does the guy find it? Was it just like tossed to him by one of the guys in the group? I don't think so. I think she had the tape and hung on to it. Why? Why would she be doing it? Why would you not destroy it? Why would you not get rid of it? Right? No, I covered you, dude. I asked you already, like, what do you mean by this? Like getting favors from women? What, sexual favors? What favors are we talking about? Thanks. I covered this a while back. I don't think you were just listening to me. But the part that I'm getting at here, and the reason why I put this up as a tweet, like this is a thought experiment. Like when I say, better an honest slut who tells you up front, this is what I've done, than it is to like discover later on, or to get involved with some chick that you think is a good girl, but you're her second choice. And what do I mean by that? Well, the thing is like, well, for the most part, if you're looking at, I gotta get my notes here. I do have notes for this one today. Because if you look at how trad cons want to sell you on this idea, and it don't be trad cons, like people, hopeful people want to sell you on this idea of, well, we need more babies. Like, what was it? JD Vance was just talking about this. If you want to do something for America, we need more babies. You know what that means, JD? Women got to get fucking. You got to start fucking your husband. You got to start. The fucking better start soon. Because that's what it boils down to. And until you can convince women that they need to have more sex with their husbands, I don't care what the fuck. You can make that plea all you want to. You can do what they do in South Korea. You can give financial incentives. You can like give them tax breaks. You can give them like free OBGYN visits, whatever it is. It doesn't make any difference if women don't want to fuck those guys. Doesn't matter. And the same thing with this guy in this old scenario, granted old, until you can make that, until a woman wants to have sex with that guy, you're still dealing, like we've come to a point right now where we have so thoroughly taken care of women's hang on one sec. Sorry. No, it's not. Sorry, I have to respond to a text here real quick. We've made the beta buck side of hypergamy so ubiquitous now that even if women don't have the actual security already locked in for their, the perception is that they do or they will. So like that one girl in the video that I initially showed in the beginning here, she was talking about hypergamy, right? Now, her definition or her understanding of hypergamy is probably incomplete, because what is hypergamy? Alpha fucks and beta bucks. She's only referring to the beta buck side because that's the side that is flattering to women, and it is unflattering to men because men today can't seem to get their shit together so that they can be better matches and more eligible bachelors for women. That's the whole problem. The problem is not about men getting off their asses. And so if you could drag these kids out of the fucking basement like that, that's always like, how many basements are there? How many, like, these guys are lazy. They're just not doing anything. They're going to school, whatever. Like, you're still like their solution is this 20th century solution. Like, oh, they got to get to college so they can be more acceptable and better eligible bachelors for women. Well, how about this? What if I'm a crypto millionaire? Is that okay? I never went to college. I just made $1 million off of Hex. Is that okay? No, not enough. Still got to, take care of mama. Still got to be what she wants. Well, the problem is then, just like what this chick was saying before in quote unquote hypergamy. Well, women have become the men that they wanted to marry. Great. Well, guess what? Guys understand the game now. Guys understand hypergamy. Because it's so open. It's an open secret, right? When you look at like like I said, Titanic, and you look at, we joke about this, right? Rose at the end of the Titanic, she drops the diamond down at the bottom where Jack is and stuff. So this one kid who was like 16 years old, after 100 years of life, she's still pining for an alpha widow at the bottom of the fucking ocean, right? He fucked her so good that one time that she has to, but fuck on the guy that like, the guy I settled for. Screw that. Even though he gave me this fantastic life, he made it possible for me to pretend I'm Amelia Earhart and ride English horses and have multiple kids and multiple grandkids. And that guy doesn't show up anywhere in the fucking movie. But you know what? She's still pining and still agonizing over Jack at the bottom of the ocean. Drops the $250 million diamond down at the bottom of the ocean. Right? Oh, our love is more valuable than this. And why? Why is that? Because it's open hypergamy. When I've got another essay where I make comparisons between Saving Private Ryan and between the endings of Saving Private Ryan and Titanic. So at the end of Titanic, you have Rose, who is still an alpha widow of Jack, and still pining for him. And then they're in heaven. They're finally reunited in death. You know what happens at the end of Private Ryan? Private Ryan is he's at Arlington, and he's over, I think it's Captain Miller's grave, and he's there with his kids. Now, he's got grandkids, he's got a wife, he's got everything, and he's there and he's shedding tears and he's crying. And because now at the end of his life, just like Rose, at the end of his life, Private Ryan is wondering if he earned it, right? Because remember, what does Captain Miller say at the end of God, we gotta watch this again. At the end of Private Ryan, he says, "Earn this." That was the last fucking words that Captain Miller says. I think it's Captain Miller. Tom Hanks' character says to Private Ryan, "Earn this." And his question, he's like agonizing question that he asks his wife, who doesn't understand any of this, is, am I good enough? Did I earn this? Am I a good man? He actually says, am I a good man? He's worried about being qualifying for it. My dogs are going off. He's worried about qualifying. He's worried about his performance. Whereas Rose, plunk, that's the end of it. And that's the difference. That's what I'm getting at right here. The guy who provided for Rose to have all that great stuff, he's the second choice. One of the reasons why I even wrote that, and I even have sort of gotten into this recently, is because I was listening to I was reading an article or listening to a conversation on a podcast, and it was about this woman who was talking to her grandmother, and again towards the end of her life, and was saying something to the effect that she could never fully give herself to her husband because he wasn't the one. He wasn't her first choice. He was the one that would do. There was a Jack in her background. There was a guy who, whatever, through romance, through laying down the good dick, I don't know. But he was not her first choice. He was the guy, rich guy. He was the guy who he'll have to do. Grab him and bring him in. And that's why I put this out there. Would you rather be like, when I'd say, would you rather? I said, rather an honest slut than a woman who makes you her second choice or makes you you weren't her first choice. Because what's more damaging to you? Living with it, she's a slut. She's up front about it. She really wants you and everything like that. Better that than being the second choice, because that is longer lasting consequences to it. Like the greatest love story ever told, the Titanic, the greatest love story ever told. It's basically the very much a formula of romance novels, right? The one that got away, or the one that died, right? Oh, he died at Dead Man's Curve. Well, he'll never, anybody else will always play second fiddle to Johnny, who died at Dead Man's Curve, or Jack at the bottom of the fucking ocean, right? Because the guy who provided for her for her luxurious life and probably a $250 million diamond, that guy doesn't even feature in the film, and he doesn't even feature in the pictures at the end of the movie. Why is that? Well, it's this. The reason I'm bringing this up because this is an example of open hypergamy. Alpha fucks, beta bucks. The alpha fucks is down at the bottom of the ocean, right? The guy in our story here in Saving the Best, he's second choice. He's not the one she wants to get with. He just do. He provides maybe some emotional support. There's reasons why women do this, right? It's emotional security. It could be financial security. It could be like she wants to have kids, or maybe she realizes she can no longer, compete at the same level she did in the sexual marketplace. And it's like, I got to, as I said, in the epiphany phase, that's when women will go and say, well, I got to find a guy to go for the long haul. And none of these guys that I want to get with are willing to commit. None of these guys are willing. I can't lock any of them down. But this guy over here who doesn't know any better, this guy over here who's still kind of blue pill, this guy over here who's a little bit beta, and he's romancy and kind of funny, kind of quirky, whatever. He's not as exciting as freaking Chad, but he'll do. That is hell. That is hell waiting to happen. And I have dealt with the reason I'm getting into this today is because I deal with guys who are older, guys who got divorced between 43, 45. That's why I started Reignite, right? Was to help guys sort of like get past this instead of, off themselves. And most of them have a very similar story. They got married, not because they were their first choice. They got married because that woman, they thought their ship had come in. They'd never been with a girl that hot. Well, how old is she? 30? Time to get married. He's 33, she's 30. That's the average age of first marriage. 33 for men, 32 for men, 30 for women. It's not a coincidence. That's when women say, oh, my biological clock is ticking. Well, at 30, imagine that. No, your biological clock was ticking at 23. You just couldn't lock anybody down. You wanted to explore your options. And why not? You think that if women believe that they've got everything locked down for the beta bucks aspects of hypergamy, then why wouldn't they want to wait as long as they possibly could to see if they could lock down a guy who's exciting and fun like Jack at the bottom of the fucking ocean? Why wouldn't they do that? It's just, I don't blame you, but it's pragmatic. Let's see. I've got from 18 until I'm 28. Why would I get married before 28? It seems to me like it's impractical. Now, I'm not saying people don't do that or they don't fall in love or whatever. I'm not saying that women don't get married before or after that. I do know the average age. I mean, more power to my daughter got married when she was 25, right? Still right in the cusp, right? But the fact of the matter is like women have a window of 18 to 28. Why wouldn't you push that as far as you possibly could? Well, I'm 20. I got to stick the landing now. Okay, who's left in the? I got to find somebody in the club before the lights come on at 2 a.m. That's why. And I'll tell you right now, like if I say, like, you guys are probably familiar with the Sheryl Sandberg quote where she was like, it was in her book called Lean In, also 2013. Where she says, date the bad boys, date the bad for you, not the abusive, but date the bad boys, date the not good for you boys, date the fun guys, the exciting guys, but don't marry them because what makes them exciting does not make them good potential husbands. Well, what does? Being stupid enough to, being blue pill and beta and not seeing open hypergamy right in front of your face. That's number one. It comes down to really hypergamy being out in the open. So one of the main point I'm trying to make today is that because hypergamy is so well known right now, more and more guys are seeing the code in the matrix here. So even if you could get these guys out of the basement, even if you could get these guys to stop their porn addictions or get them off of playing video games and do all the things that they want the real men do at TP USA, right? Even if you could do that, guys are still going to be hesitant to get married unless they're really religious and you can find somebody who could shame them into doing so or gaslight them into doing so. But because they see the writing on the wall, they see Titanic. I remember the first time I wrote this essay. It was called Open Hypergamy, right? Hypergamy used to be concealed. It used to be something that women went, shh, don't fucking tell him. What are we talking about? I'm going to go fuck all these guys. But shh. And then when at 30, when we're not married, I'll marry Ross from Friends. Rachel will marry Ross at 30 because he's a great guy, but I got to find out if there's somebody better before I'm 30. That's fucked up. You remember we were talking about how it's a horror show to watch those like sitcoms of the 90s? That's fucked up. But we thought it was funny back then because we didn't know any better. It was concealed. We didn't have evolutionary psychology to tell us that, or not what we do now. We didn't have social media to throw it in our faces 24/7. So it's not the fact that these guys aren't prepared for it, or they're not going to college or whatever else. Even if they did, and they became the high value men that were eligible bachelors for all these women who can't find a man, well, the reason they can't is because men understand the game. They understand open hypergamy. They know they're not going to sign up for shit like that. I don't want to be second fucking choice. I want to be first fucking choice. I want to be the guy that you wouldn't think about having, an orgy with and anal sex with. I want me. This is the guy. I'm supposed to be your husband for the rest of your fucking life. Why wouldn't I want that? Why wouldn't you want that? Why would you settle? And of course, women, they wouldn't. You want to know why fertility is in the shitter? You want to know why marriage is at the lowest it's ever been in recorded history? That's why. Oh, it's feminism. No, it's open hypergamy. It's this knowledge base, this database, this open secret right now that guys don't want to sign up for. They don't want to be like, it's better to have an honest slut than it is to have a woman who you are the second choice for. I don't want to be the guy at the end of my wife's life where she's like having this deathbed confession to our granddaughter saying, well, there's a part of me that I could never really give to him. Well, who could you give it to? Oh, this guy back in college. I was so crazy. We had a six-way. Let me tell you, honey. Like imagine this woman who's trying to get back with her husband after he finds the tape. Right? Those were the ones that those guys, and those five guys and one woman. That's who she could give it all to. That's who she could abandon all self-consciousness to. That's who she really desired. But she's got to be married, and I don't want you to think I'm a slut. No, you just don't have any desire, but you had to do something. You had to get married. You had to have some security. You had to have, whether it's financial or emotional, whatever that security entails, you still had to do it. So when we're looking at, I'm trying to look at the action items I have to get to. Here's Ned. Ned has joined the chat. Here he comes. Where's Ned? Come here, Ned. Hi, Ned. Would you like to see Ned? Here's Ned. Let's look at Ned. Ned, look. Hi, Ned. Okay, that was classic. Okay. I have an open room here. I don't have a door on the room. I got to get like a barn door that slides here because it's like the audio gets fucked up. But the dogs just come and go. Oh, Jesus. Poor boy. He's good though. He's happy now. People were asking me how Ned was. I was at Miguel and Charlie's crypto event, and the first thing anybody asked me is, "How's Ned?" How am I? Yeah, it's funny. So, anyways, getting back to the point, there's, I know it was. Remember not too long ago, I think it was a tweet. It was a tweet. Oh no, it was a Reddit post that was sort of retweeted as a screenshot or something like that, and it was this young woman. I think she said she was 28, and she was with the guy that she was with. He was either the fiance or was going to be the fiance. Right? And she said something to the effect of like, "Oh, you're so unlike all the other guys." Like she thinks this is a compliment. You're so unlike all these other guys that I fucked in my past, right? But you're nice and you're loyal and you're dependable and you're in love with me and blah blah blah. And she thinks it's a compliment. And he takes it as a highly offensive thing. And the reason, like, women don't understand this because they don't understand the dynamic of open hypergamy. This guy knew the game. And so when that woman says, "Oh yeah, you're nice. You're unlike all the other, jerks that I've been with." Actually, I probably should use that for Ned. "You're unlike all of these other jerks that I've been with in my past." And I'm like, why would you think that that's a compliment? because the guys who are the jerks in your past are the ones you had genuine desire for. He's on, and maybe she could genuinely like desire him, but the fact that she put it in such a terms, that's offensive now, and that's an insult. So essentially, you had, remember, women break rules for alphas and they make rules for betas. So I'm the guy that has to jump through your hoops and make your rules and obey your rules, right? And here's the funny thing is now is that right up until I said popularization of open hypergamy, I would say it was probably about like 2012 is when I became really acutely aware of it. And as I said before, like women up to that point, up until like the mid 2000s, maybe 2010, really tried to keep hypergamy under wraps. Like don't talk, don't ask, don't tell. I used to have this thing. I remember in the mid 2000s, I said, you know what? Gold diggers are just women who openly call out the game, right? I'm only doing this because I realize I'm a hot piece of ass. I'm only with this guy for his money, right? Well, the reason why even women hate other gold diggers is because it reveals the game that they're playing, that they don't want any other guy to understand, which was, of course, Sheryl Sandberg's advice to women, which is date the bad boys, date the bad for you guys, date the rockers, date the drug dealers, date the guys who are exciting, but don't marry them. Look for a guy who is, dependable. Look for a guy who thinks women should be opinionated and does his share of the housework. And, over time, nothing is sexier. I love that over time part, right? So after a while, you'll realize, or you'll come to appreciate that all his acts of service and his servitude is actually going to turn you on. It's not. There's this commercial recently. It's this guy who's like sort of Mr. Mom. He's like a stay-at-home dad, and they have he and I would presume his wife have this toddler that he's chasing after, and he's like this good dad. He goes online, he looks up all this stuff, and what's the latest diaper, and what's the latest wipe, and all this other shit. And I think it's a coffee commercial, because at some point along the line, he's making coffee for himself and drinking and stuff. And at the end of the commercial, you can see that the baby is asleep, and she's looking at him like, he's drinking his coffee or whatever, and she like the presumption, the innuendos that they're going to go have sex, and that by him being Mr. Mom and assuming the mother role, that's nothing sexier, right? And I looked at that and I go, there is only on TV does that work. Only on TV is that. I half expect to say, yeah, hey, it's time to go see my bull in the next room. Do you want to be in the chair today? That's what it really came down to. But because in the real world, that doesn't exist. Like I've had those conversations with Richard Reeves before, where he's like, well, we really need to empower men and create a social atmosphere of appreciation, and to make being a stay-at-home dad sexy, or to be a male teacher, it's got to be sexier, so we have more male teachers. I love that's always an appeal to the sexiness of the guy. So women will want to fuck you if you assume a feminine role, or if you stereotypically feminine role. No, they won't. And I don't care how much social constructionism bullshit you're going to buy into, or going to try to, foist on everybody else. That doesn't change 200,000 years of human evolution. So, but the other part was this, is that the rules, the obeying the rules. The problem I think that a lot of women are having right now is they can't find a guy who's still stupid enough and doesn't understand the game. They're looking for a guy who is like pre-whipped, who will already be on board with everything she has to do, right? It's like they are, as I said before, women break rules for alphas and they make rules for betas. The thing is that a lot of guys who I would say are stereotypical betas right now tend to follow those rules before they even meet the woman. And you can say, well, those guys are cucked, or those guys are male feminists, or yeah, but and you'd be right, but the conditioning, as I said, we raise our boys as if they're defective girls. Part of that defective girls conditioning is teaching boys to expect the rules and the hoops that they're going to have to jump through when they get to be 30 years old, when they get, because that's the average age of marriage for women, right? So there's this sort of pre-understanding or this pre-setting of, well, that's just the way it's supposed to be, right? And trad cons are the worst at this, but they're not. This is not just exclusive to trad cons. I mean, it could be liberals like Justin Baldoni, right? But it's also true of guys like Matt Walsh, guys like Charlie Kirk, guys like Ben Shapiro and everything. I played that interview or that story on Ben Shapiro meeting his wife often enough. Clearly, I feel with 100% confidence that Ben Shapiro's wife didn't choose him because he was her first choice. And I can show you with 100% certainty, and I've done it already, that Tammy Peterson did not pick Jordan Peterson as her first fuck, as her first choice. She only found him attractive when he finally became a doctor and things fell apart with her 2-year relationship with the guy that she was living with. Jordan Peterson is Tammy's last resort, was the second choice. And he has to live with that. I mean, remember, he's the one who said, "Oh, I told my dad I was going to marry her when I was 7 years old." He's still stuck in this idealistic fucking Disney fantasy of, the soulmate. Oh, I know, we're star-crossed lovers. We finally found each other. And then you come to realize that she wouldn't even accept his second or third proposal of marriage until she got out of the relationship that she'd been in that she'd been living with the guy for 2 years. Jordan is the second choice, which is why he plays suck up all the time, which is why it's like, well, you need to talk and negotiate with your wife at the time. She might be right and you might be wrong. And you need to know that you're wrong. Like, to his mind, that seems like fucking logic. That seems brilliant, right? I will guarantee you on Tammy Peterson's deathbed, she'll be relating all of this to Michaela Peterson or whoever the granddaughter is, whatever. It's like, he was, there's a part of me that I could never give to Jordan. Guaranteed. That's why I say better an honest slut than to be married to a woman for whom you are her second choice or third choice or whatever. You're the one who will do, because you will ruin your life as a result of that. You will do, and you know what you'll do? You'll also gaslight yourself into thinking that this is the way that it ought to be. That's how it's supposed to work. So let me go to super chats here. Both Ben Shapiro and I'm glad you picked up on this. Shapiro's wife and Jordan Peterson's wife resisted their initial approaches and hesitated to get into a relationship. Yes. See, you knew where I was going with it. You guys can read my mind. Both second fiddle by definition. Yep, you are correct. Yeah. I hate being right all the time, right? Sad, really. Reality is Destiny's Crew is more outraged about the Pixie scandal and not a Trump supporter who got elected in cold blood. And he got deleted in cold blood. And he prays it. Yeah, should show you where the psychopath's mind is really at. As I said, pathological personalities draw other pathological personalities into their orbit. Why do people say a freak in the streets? I don't know, in the sheets. I don't know what they're talking about. I do all the work. Yeah. I tell you what's funny is, and people don't like to hear this because they think it's me flexing or I'm glossing myself or something like that. But there was a time when I was in my rock star 20s, yes, where I finally came to understand like genuine desire. There's a case to be made for visceral, genuine lust. And I do not feel bad about saying that. People go, oh, you need to tame your lust. Like that one chick that was like the ministry preacher chick like that. Like, yeah, well, if it's debilitating, okay. But you know what you need to do in a married relationship? You need to embrace that. You need to do shit you would never do with anyone else, but you need to do it with your husband. Right? I saw what was it? Oh, I saw who showed me this? Oh, it was, I don't know if it was a religious chick, but somebody gave me a link to a video about how many times a week a married couple should have sex. And I already know how much I have. I'm comparing it to like what the respondents were saying, right? I'm like, I cannot even, like, how do Christians like reproduce? I just don't. And every answer that this chick gave was this sort of like standard, like she wouldn't want to give a number. She just was, well, if it works for you, if you're at this season in your life, and it's fuck him, just fuck him, please. Can you make him number one instead of number two, or the one that got away? Can you do that? Probably not. I guess that's a bridge too far, but it was eye-opening, to say the least. Let's see. It is a poverty you must use beta game so that you may live as you wish. Yeah. It is a poverty, man. See, I have inspired poets on this. You must use beta game so that you may live as you wish. Can you explain the Ben Franklin effect? Okay, I already did, dude. Again, I need more information. Like, what exactly is your definition of Ben Franklin game? Ben Franklin game? Where did that come from? Sammy, go look up Ben Franklin game for me, will you? All right. I already answered the other one. I don't like favors. What favors? Like political favors? Because that's. Did you ever watch was it Michael Douglas played Ben Franklin in that in Franklin? It was on Apple Plus. That was a pretty good show too, by the way. But he used women to get quite a few favors. But are we talking about a blowjob, or are we talking about like speaking to the king? I need to know what favor. Who was the black guy cig smoking prior to CGA in his basement? Remember? The CGA smoke? I guess he does smoke on this thing. I watched CGA talking about how the manosphere is like eating itself or something like that. I liked it. I thought what he did was pretty good. I just thought it was incomplete. Who was the black guy cig smoking prior to CGA in his basement? Well, I know it wasn't Kevin Samuels because he didn't smoke cigars. Was it Alpha Mindset guy? I forget. Alpha male something. I forget the dude's name. Lucario? Was it Lucario? Maybe it was Lucario. Could have been Lucario. That's like, well, CGA didn't really show up until like, nobody knew who he was until 2018. Donovan. I don't think Donovan's ever smoked on. There's very few people other than Andrew Wilson. I don't think I can name anybody who actually smokes on screen. Oh, well, okay, but Cappy does. He'll smoke a cigar now and then. Which, by the way, I have like so much. I got like cigar after cigar in my freezer right now. Dated a girl mid-30s, pushed me hard for marriage. I told her I needed to date 2 years. We broke up in a year and a half. Monkey branched to another guy, was engaged in a year. She just wanted a ring. Didn't matter who. Yeah. Okay. Well, so here's the deal. I'm glad you brought that up because that's very similar to what I always put in here. This is the timeline from my second book, which is The Rational Male, Preventative Medicine. It was published in 2015. And it's actually, quite honestly, I think it's the sleeper hit of the series. But anyways, you can see here, if you look at the epiphany phase and the transition phase, which is like right at 26, 27, 28. As I said before, like I usually peg the party years or the hoe phase between 18 and 28. But the epiphany phase is when women start to, sort of be a little bit more self-aware. And that's when they want to get right with God and they want to find a guy and blah, 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 blah. I think it coincides with this understanding that in a few more years, that woman will not be able to compete at the same level that she's able to now in her 20s. This is the wall, okay? This is not the wall. There's plenty of hot girls who are like 38, 39. Hell, I know some 43-year-olds that like could compete in Fitness America bikini contests. Good looking. It's not that. It's here. That's where the wall starts for women. I cannot compete. I am 33 and I cannot compete at the same level as I did when I was 23. Or there's a new crop of 23-year-old girls and I am not as desirable at 33 as they are at 23. That's just how the market works. It's market demand. It's not because guys are trying to shit all over women. Oh, you said I'm not attractive at this age. Well, I'm attractive. Like, not what I said, not what I've ever said. It's psychological. It's right here. And that all begins at this stage right here. So what happens is when if women cannot consolidate, if they cannot lock down the guy who is their first choice, the guy for whom they would do anything, right? Literally anything. They can't lock that guy down. That's the time where it's like the woman's id and her ego start conflicting. Right. So you got the id. The id wants hot, sexy, fun, monkey sex, lust, roller coaster ride, bad boys, motorcycles, excitement, fun, hot, arousing sex with a hot guy. That's the id. And if she's been able to sort of get that, or even have a Instagram or OnlyFans up to that point, that has been sort of delivering that dopamine or that endorphin hit long enough that she thinks she can stay in the game. It's almost like a gambling addiction. Well, maybe the next one will be better. But if she can't lock that guy down, then the ego kicks in and goes, wait. We need to find a guy good for the long haul. Let's be sensible about this, girl. Let's find a guy who is fun and but has a good job, a man with benefits. We got to find a guy who's going to be a good candidate for an eligible bachelor for the long haul. And that's when women get frustrated. Or they can't find that anymore. Because those guys either don't exist, they're not as forthcoming as they used to be because of her age, or maybe they just don't understand like what those guys want. And so what happens is they have to make a compromise, and that compromise becomes the second choice. And that's, and by the way, when I'm talking about guys don't be the second choice, I'm also saying that for women's benefit too. Because remember, your choice of who you're going to marry, ladies, is, and you're the one that makes this choice. Your future children, your future grandchildren, your mom and your dad, his mom and his dad, all of that is dependent on one thing, on you understanding that this guy's your second choice and he'll never be your first choice. Or this guy's your first choice and that's what you're going with. And that's what you want. So so what I'm doing is I'm basically saying, I'm trying to like forestall the inevitable, right? I'm trying to head it off at the pass, trying to give you some like, insight before you make a really bad choice, not just for his life, but for your own life as well. Because if you get to be 38, 39 years old and you go, you know what, I need to get out. Well, I'm still hot. I need to get a personal trainer and I need to get myself back in the game because he's not the one. Women will gaslight themselves, and there's also all kinds of social conventions for women to sort of like rationalize away why they should get out of a marriage and get into something else, right? It's the making up for missing out effect. It's Stella got her groove back. It's eat, pray, love. Both those stories are exactly what I'm talking about. So women who get to later on in life, they're like, okay, well, it's put up or it's time to fish or cut bait, right? Either I'm sticking with this guy for the long haul and he's not my favorite and I'm just going to live the rest of my life kind of just sort of hoping things will get better, or am I going to get out of this relationship and am I going to get back into the sexual marketplace? And unfortunately, you want to know why women divorce men at 70%, 70, 75, whatever it is. It's because of that dilemma. It's because you want to know when the average age of first divorce for women is 40, for men it's 43. And, nine times out of 10, it's because nothing sinister, nothing pre-planned, nothing premeditated. It's just because that's the timeline. That was what was pragmatic. That's what was working. And so whether it's through social conditionings or whatever, or movies, stories, The Notebook, just kill me with the fucking Notebook. That's the timeline. So ladies, you're like, listen to Uncle Rolo. You're doing yourself a favor and you're doing him a favor. Because if he's not somebody that you can have that hot monkey sex with like you did in college, what are you doing with him? There has to be a good balance between the ego and the id right there when you're trying to check out of the sexual marketplace. Don't make a guy do him the solid and just tell him he's not the one. Better an honest slut being the second choice. Because as I said before, it's like later on in life when you get to hit your 60s and say, you're not looking at the God's eye view of it all, right? You're not looking at the full picture. When you get to be 70 years old, you go, God, my life that could have been. I should have listened to Rollo when I was 28. Hear me now, believe me later. Dated a girl in the mid-30s, pushed me to get married. Okay, yeah. So that was actually, you're the one that prompted all that. Private Ryan was thinking for Lost Brothers about honor, duty, and sacrifice. Yeah, because that was what love meant to those guys. Honor, duty, and sacrifice, yes. But also, did I earn this? Do you remember the script? I do, because I do. He literally asks his wife, am I a good man? And she's like, yeah, I guess you're a good man. Like he says, he even says, tell me I'm a good man. Because he wanted to know that he earned it. He wanted to know that his performance was up to snuff. That's what it was about. I literally remember the script to that because when I wrote that essay, I actually went and watched the movie. That wife in Saving the Best essentially said that Rose said to Cal late in the movie, I'd rather be his whore than your wife. Yeah. You should, at least, again, an honest slut. Better an honest slut than a second choice wife, right? Where to go? In Titanic and the Notebook again. The female leads cheat on their fiancés. Why are these women celebrated by society rather than shamed and held accountable? Because you live in the time of gynocentrism, my friend. You live in the time, as I was saying before, of feels before reals. Because when I talk about instinct, emotion, and reason, right? What's the primary way that women experience their world? Instinct, then emotion, then reason. That's why it's celebrated. That's why, because now you have taken the female experience and you have normalized it and you have standardized it throughout society. How do women organize society? Right? This is how they do it, for feelings. Don't judge me. You don't have any right to judge me, because that would be the voice. That would be the language of empiricism. So if I can head that off at the pass, then I can do whatever the hell I want to, right? Or follow your heart; it'll never lead you astray, right? Or it's also the same reason why Jada Pinkett Smith says, "Me and what is it? August Alsina, or I forget the guy's name, the kid's name, right? Like, it was an entanglement. No, you fucking cheated. It was infidelity, is what it was." They don't want to say that because in a female gynocentric world, to do so is reals before feels. That's why. Again, I'm not endorsing it. I'm not saying it's right. I'm not saying it's wrong. Actually, quite honestly, if everyone asks me my opinion, I'll say it's wrong. But those are the mechanics behind it. 3 Diglets. Hey, say hi to the guys at Fresh and Fit for me. Rollo, I thought male SMV peak was 38. No, that's peak potential. Okay. Sexual market value peak potential is around 36-ish. Kind of depends on the culture. I think in the United States, I would say like 36-ish. But again, how long does that last? Right? Your peak potential years are going to be right about your mid-30s. And that's by my reckoning. I can show you Forbes and some of these other players. Forbes, hell, even Jezebel used to say that men in their 50s were hitting their peak potential. I'm like, I don't agree with that. And I was like pushing 50 at that time. But no, that's the peak potential. And and the reason why I keep harping on potential is because a lot of guys don't reach that potential. But thanks for that super chat. That's a pretty good one. Between an honest slut or last choice, I say neither is a good choice for a successful long-term relationship. Both types are ticking time bombs. Yes, but one is honest and one is not. One is at least telling you up front what to expect of her. The wife who conceals you being her first choice, that has longer lasting, more lingering effects. At least you know what you're dealing with. If you say, hey, you know what? I know she's a skank, but At least she's an honest skank, and I know what I'm getting into. I know about the tape. I know about her OnlyFans. I know about that. If she's going to stop that, it's up to you, like how you want to sort of set boundaries in your relationships, right? But again, at least the duplicity of trying to pretend that like the guy that you're marrying is your first choice when you're actually second or not even any choice. You're the he'll do guy. So when we talk about settling and all the rest of this shit, right? Both types can be ticking time bombs, yes, but the one that ticks the longest is the second choice girl. And that has longer lasting, more damaging effects because not only is she older, you're older too. So there's the sunk cost and the return on investment aspect that goes along with that as well. Like, what if the guy in the scenario from Saving the Best, if that guy had known beforehand, had known about the tape, had known about what her past was about, because that's the comparison that I was going to make in all of this is that women have a digital footprint now. So you don't have to go hunting for a VHS tape. You don't have to just discover it accidentally. You can go and just look at her Instagram. You can go and see if she's somebody with OnlyFans. You can because women are up for, like I said, it's open hypergamy. So it's an open secret. Like women are proud of their past. And that's why women get upset about asking body count, because they can't get away from it. So what do we have to do? So if you can't get away from body count, if you can't escape your digital footprint, the only other option, the only recourse that women have is to shame men for even asking about it and then normalize it. Oh, well, yeah, everybody does it, right? Everybody has it because you can't get away from it. Why do you care? Are you an insecure man? I don't want to make it with an insecure guy. Oh, you're going to make me give up my OnlyFans? You're insecure. So that's all that is a strategy or a tactic to normalize her digital footprint. So if the problem lies with you, she's not doing anything wrong. You are, because you have a problem with it. So that's why body count, like when like you have these guys on the man on the street interviews. Well, what's your body count? Should body count matter? Why would anybody care? Why would anybody care? Is the message, is the tactic to push you to delimit it, right? To normalize it, to find some way to dance around it. Do that long enough, it becomes, anything can become normal. That's all it is it's a normalization. Can you break down Floribama Shore? What the fuck is Floribama Shore? Floribama Shore. I have no earthly idea what the fuck that is. No, but can you? Because I'd really like to know what a Floribama Shore is. Obama? Is this for real? Like Jennifer Aniston and Obama? What? That has to be a freaking Bubba Misa. That has to be a joke. Will Travis Kelce be the one or a retroactive cuck? We're going to talk about that in a moment. Retroactive cuckle. I have to like rifle through a few things here really quick. When will you bring Tim Grover on? He trashes Alpha. I have no idea who this guy is either. So now I'm going to have to write that down and figure out who Tim Grover is. Tim Grover is he the religious guy? Was he on was that no, maybe it wasn't him. Is he he wasn't on Tim Pool with me, was he? Tim Grover? I don't think so. I don't know who he is. I'll have to look him up, dude. You guys are like running names by me that I have no idea. Sorry, I'm late to class. I had to go to deal with a sick relative. What did I miss? My back injury is what you missed. You can have female friends. Practice game on them. Yes and no. Oh, God. Who is it now? Oh, it's Sammy. Sammy, why are you calling me? Don't call me. Floribama Gulf Coast TV show. Floribama Shore is an American reality television series that premiered on MTV in November of 2017 as a successor to Jersey Shores. Really? We're going to dig that out of mothball? No. Oops, where do we go? There he is. Jersey Shore? Was a follow-up to Jersey Shore? I had no idea there even was one. Jersey Shore was like done in like what, 2009, and they dragged it out. Like they tried to do a sequel in 2017. A little late. Let's see. Ben Franklin said, "Passion, love is like playing chess." Is that it? Ben Franklin. Ben Franklin game. Let's see. Ben Franklin played chess. Okay. Was that supposed to be hot? Ben Franklin said, "Passion, love is like playing chess. The man and the cultural tradition. Perhaps to justify his passion through supposedly to the point of practical benefits of chess, Franklin wrote The Morals of Chess in June of 1779. The essay, or bagatelle, is in the medieval and Renaissance tradition of chess moralities, which drew analogies between chessboard and the world, between the pieces and the ranks of society." Okay, I fail to see how this is game, but it's not that one. How do we find focus in the most important areas of life, like relationships, finance, and personal growth, truly fulfill our potential? Eliminate distractions. Eliminate sedations before anything else. Eliminate sedations. Eliminate distractions. I know that sounds kind of like, reading the tea leaves kind of shit here, but let me explain. Sedation is the number one thing. No one can help you, Carlos. No one, you can't even help yourself until you get rid of the sedation, whether that's porn, whether that's booze, whether that's prescription opioids, whether that's video games. The first thing you have to do is decide, what is my sedation? That's one of the hardest things for guys to do. It's like, it's the first part of the Reignite book that I'm working on right now. The very first chapter is about eliminating sedations, because nothing else matters. You can read the rest of the book and none of that book will matter until you can pull yourself away from what is keeping you in bed in the morning. Well, I can't get to the gym, Rolo. How come? Because you smoke too much weed, you fucking idiot. Rolo, I can't find a right girl. What's wrong with me? You jerk off too much to Pornhub. Nothing I say is going to make any difference until you can stop sedating yourself. Oh, Rolo, I can't lose any weight. Well, maybe it's because you smoke too much weed and you eat shit food because you get the munchies. Rolo, my sleep schedule sucks. What's wrong with me? You're jerking off to porn at 11 p.m. at night. Simple as that. I'm bringing up these instances because these are exactly the kinds of guys that I work with right now. How do I focus on my relationships? Well, what kind of relationships? With your family? With chicks? Finances, personal growth? Well, what define personal growth? That's so fucking ambiguous. I hate that shit too, by the way. I listen, and I love Ty Lopez. Don't get me wrong. I love Mike Sartain. I love Justin Waller. I love all these guys. You don't take this the wrong way. But can we be more specific, please? Everything is this fucking aphorism. Everything is this goddamn reading the tea leaves. Everything is like, it's like I have a copy of my bookcase is right here. I have a copy of the Tao Te Ching in there, because when I was doing my core work and my research work for my fourth book, Religion, I still have that up there. I have a book on Taoism. I have the Bhagavad Gita up there. But if you were to take like the Tao Te Ching, and you were just, because it's basically just Proverbs, right? You could just randomly go in there and grab one quote and then put it on it's like pithy wisdom, right? If I was going to take that and I put that on Twitter, people would think I was a fucking god. They would think I was like, Rolo, you're so profound and so, what a deep level of understanding of the world. I just pulled it out of the Tao Te Ching, dude. That's all these guys do. It's like personal growth. What the fuck? You mean lifting? Like actual growth? Because to me, relationships and finance are personal growth, right? But again, my advice to you is, and I don't do advice, but if I'm going to give you any advice, you don't get to any of that. You can't focus on any of that until you decide until you understand what your sedations are and get rid of them. not make any progress. Remember what I said? What did I say? I said, if it doesn't hurt, it won't grow. You won't grow until you can get over the hurt of ditching your sedations. Oh, is that in the Tao Te Ching? No. All right. I have to address this. I'm getting close on time because I didn't want to go too much over like 2 hours, but here I am. Who do I want? I have to get to this because I kind of feel like we talked about this a little bit earlier, but we're talking about cuckoldry, and somebody gave me some grief about an old video that I put out, and I still stand by it. But people ask me like, "Oh, do you think?" Or no, I know what it was. Somebody put this old video of me talking about like retroactive cuckoldry versus like proactive cuckoldry, right? And in that, I think it was part of when I know why they got to it, because I don't know if you guys are aware of this, but Mike Rashid has come out against like Myron and Fresh, which I was right again. Just saying, guys, you might want to listen to me, not that crazy old fucker over there. What's this? We wanted a ginger with a fat ass, and then Pearl showed up. Okay. No, but so there was I think it was in August of 2021 when I did that one video of, and I was trying to be as measured as I possibly could, but of course, again, Mike Rashid's going to take it the wrong way. I like Mike Rashid. This is not a blast on him. I understand why he's kind of like standoff, trying to distance himself between, and I'm saying that euphemistically, distance himself between Myron and himself. And he never even mentioned Fresh, but like recently he's come out on somebody else's podcast against Myron. And because of Myron's kind of pivot to his new narrative. So I kind of hate it because I sort of patched things up with Mike Rashid, and I like Mike quite a bit. But back in August of 2021, I did a video saying, Mike Rashid is a blue pill alpha, right? And I think part of the reason why that was sort of kind of offensive to him is because I mentioned in that video the difference between a retroactive cuckold and a proactive cuckold. And the retroactive cuckold, of course, is the guy who marries a single mother. And the proactive cuckold is the guy who his girlfriend, his wife, whatever, has like, screws around on the side, has a baby, and then convinces him that it's his baby. Okay. So those are two different ways of sort of talking about cuckoldry. And the reason I got into this in the first place is because I had people like Mac and Murphy, and there's these fucking idiots who are like, or Alex from Dates, like, right. They're like, the actual incidence of cuckoldry is very low. It's only like 2 or 3%, blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, yeah, but the effect is still the same. Right. So if you want to say, well, even if you could get accurate numbers, but let's just say for the sake of argument, it's 5%, right? Very low, still very low. Even if you got those things, you're only defining cuckoldry based on what the DNA, the people who go in to get a DNA test to see if the child is really theirs. Okay? So if that's the case and that's your definition of cuckoldry, then you might be right, 3 to 5%. What I'm saying is that women's sort of reproductive mating strategy, their life plan, is to get alpha fucks and then beta bucks, right? So you have kids with the alpha, and then you get a beta to wife you up, to take care of the kids, to take care of the children that guy did not sire. And by that I mean he's not the biological father. It's just easier to say sire. So we used to have social institutions that would, it was there's a lot of social stigmas against single mothers for a very long time until the sexual revolution. And then now they're superheroes, right? But think about what the function of that is. The function of being a single mother. We used to call those children bastard children. They're fatherless children. We still, even today, if those kids get into trouble, they're criminals or drugs or suicide or whatever, the first thing everybody says is, where's the father? Your father's gone, has been gone since the sexual revolution, since the mid 70s, where we just kicked him out of the house because you don't need no man. I mean, collectively, socially, psychologically, social narrative wise, whether that's true or not is kind of immaterial, but it's the zeitgeist anyways. So I point this out and I say, look, there's really more ways to be a cuckold than just not being able to pass a DNA test. As I said before, anything can become normal. One of the things that's become normal is guys who aren't the stepdad, they're the dad who stepped up. So if you are Mike Rashid and your girlfriend or whatever, and your baby mama, whatever, and you start seeing a single mother, they'll fight you. I don't want to fight Mike Rashid. First of all, I like him. He'd probably beat my ass. But the fact of the matter is that he's a cuckold in that situation. I don't know if he's still with the same girl anymore, so I could be wrong. But in that situation, he's retroactively a cuckold for signing up for that. Well, kids need fathers. Yeah, they do. That's the whole thing. They're playing on your sympathies for kids need positive male role models. Well, why? Because we've kicked the positive male role models out of the house, because we've demonized them, because we've made the default the Duluth model of feminism, meaning like if there's any problems in the house, you always remove the man. The presumption of any violence or any hostility is always, if you have to default, Occam's razor, right? If you have to default to one or the other, you're always pulling the man out of the situation. That's why it's like that. I didn't make the rules. I'm just reporting on them. I just work here, man. So when I say, I mean this in the most diplomatic, most nicest, sweetest, with the most respect I can possibly muster. Andrew Wilson's a cuckold in that situation. So is Wes Watson. So is Mike Rashid. So is anybody else who signed up to either date or marry a single mother, because you're essentially fulfilling the same outcome as if she cheated on you and convinced you the kid was hers, right? It's the same outcome. And well, what is the end result of cuckoldry? It's always the same thing. It's one man assuming the parental investment responsibilities of the biological father, of a man who didn't basically ejaculated and evacuated. All right. And the father might even be involved in it, and that's a double boon for the mother. Now I've got two guys that are going to give me, resources, material, wealth, or whatever it is to support my kid. But it's not your kid; it's the other dude's kid. And in most cases, it's that guy's not around, and the woman needs a man with benefits. Those benefits are provisioning, protection, and parental investment of another man's child at the expense of you having your own. Now, you might still be able to have your own kids with the woman. Yeah, that might be part of it, but that's really a beta male mating strategy is what it comes down to. And again, respectfully, okay, I'm not trying to say, oh, you're a cuck. Like when we say cuck right now, I think we think of like some big bull fucking your wife and you're in the fucking cuck chair in some hotel somewhere. That's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about the after effects of that. Why is that even a thing? Like, why is cuckold porn it's one of the I hate to say it because there's the AVN, but it's like one of the highest like trending niches of porn right now. Why? Because maybe it's so maybe because that woman gets off on it too, because the cuck is not her first choice. And the guy who's the stereotypical bull is the kind of guy she wants to get with. Yeah. Imagine grandma explaining that on her deathbed to a grandchild. Well, you know what? We used to have a lot of fun at the hotels, man. Your grandfather was a cuck. He'd sit in the chair. Oh man, I get railed till I'd spend the night. Oh, that was great. Oh, do what I did, girl. Bye. Yeah. As I said, better an honest slut than being the second choice. But now I'm being flippant. I don't want to be. No, I mean, the outcome is the same. If I said this to Wes Watson in his face, he would like punch me in the mouth. What are you saying? I'm a cuck? No, but do you go and watch other guys fuck your wife? No. But is the end result the same as if you had been cuckolded? Yes, you just got cuckolded retroactively, not proactively. That's all. And the same thing happened. Like people say, well, what if they adopt? Don't you think kids deserve a chance? Yeah, they do. And the reason why you think that is a moral imperative is because it completes the life plan and the reproductive mating strategy of women. Alpha fucks, beta bucks. And by the way, kids need beta bucks more than anything else. And women need beta bucks. They need that long-term security more than anything else in their lives. So as the guy you're not the stepdad, you're the dad who stepped up. Well, the reason why we lionize you, the reason why we make that the most noble and most honorable Christian thing you can possibly do is because we've got to do something to complete the life plan of that woman who got caught. That's why there's Christian single mom ministries, so they can recruit guys who are effectively cuckolds. We call them stepfathers, but the end result, again, is the same fucking thing. And I'm not saying this to be an asshole. I'm not saying, as I said, with the most diplomatic amount, all due respect, the outcome is the same. You can paint that in any way you want. You can say it's your Christian duty to do it. You can say it's the best for society. Kids need fathers. Yeah, but the reason why you have all of these sort of moral imperatives that surround all of that is because women need those to get away from the fact that they had sex, or they had reproduced with a guy who was probably a bad choice, or maybe he was the right choice biologically, and she couldn't get the guy to lock down and commit. So once again, we come back full circle, because this is sort of like ancillary to today's topic, which is that you have the guy, the first choice is obvious, the guy who fathered the kid, the guy who steps up and wants to provide and be the stepfather and wants to walk into that role. Honestly, if I'm completely honest, I will have to say that I think that there's probably some sort of subconscious understanding that a guy who would do that is going to be the second choice, not going to be the first choice, not going to be the guy that she has a natural innate desire for. Now that might change over time. Nothing sexier, right? That might change, but the fact of the matter is she reproduced with the guy who was her first choice. And whether that guy was, on a basketball team somewhere traveling through town, I don't know. But the fact remains is, if you are assuming the parental investment responsibilities of another man, that is the end result of being a cuckold. End of story. And again, I'm not trying to be an asshole. If anybody wants to talk, nuts and bolts, I'll throw it out there. But how do we find folk? Okay, I already got to that. Rational redneck. People love to confuse these issues. Of course they do, because it's personal, man. A lot of guys, I don't think a lot of people really understand that guys who are okay with being like stepdads, it really boils down to being a mating strategy, right? Well, I found this girl, she's really good. She wants to, I think what the illustration I said was this, is like, if you met some random, redirecting away the mother's choices, which is the issue you should be discussing in that situation. Yes. Well, the other part of that equation is, and I said this, I said, look, if you knew some random girl at work, or some random girl anywhere, and she came up to you and she says, I think it's your Christian duty, or your duty to be a real man. You need to give me child support payments, like just out of the blue, right? I have a new baby, daddy's gone, and you're the guy closest to me. So you need to start paying me X amount of dollars. Will you do it? God wants you to. You get the fuck out of here, crazy bitch. Who are you? Okay. Now I need you to do all of that, but I'll fuck you too. You might. You might. Depending on how hot she is, depending on how much she can convince you that she would be fun in bed. You might. You wouldn't do it for any other reason, I can tell you that. What else do we have here? Okay, that's that. So I just wanted to sort of like run through that really quick, because I wanted to clarify things here. And again, it wasn't trying to be a jerk about it or anything like that. The fact of the matter is that that's the end result. So, as long as Andrew understands his position, would you like me to scream this? Because caps lock hustler. And I think he understands, is caught his bash fest with UDC. Who's UDC? He did not deny it. Okay, well, whatever. Again, I'm not gonna fucking come down on people for their choices. They can do what they want to. They're gonna deal with it. But I will tell you the truth. That's the definition. What else could it be? Like, if you got another take, I'm all ears, man. but that's the way it's going to roll out. I got one. What time is it? Nah, I'll get to it next week. All right, guys. I think I'm going to roll now. Let's see. What do I have? Last licks here. If you didn't catch the very first of the show, I threw my back out. So that's why I'm in the studio here today, which I'm kind of comfortable. Like you guys even got to see Ned. So that's cool. But let's see. There we go. I will be back probably in Red One Studio. That will be next week. That'll be same time. Oh, hey, thank you very much, my friend. You can get Yo, Rolo, where can I find information relating to body language without needing MLD's course? Well, go to my website and just go to my, actually, hold on. I'll just get it for you real quick. It's not too difficult. There we go. I'll give you a link right now, as a matter of fact. I'll throw this in the chat. Hang on. Here, you can go to this link right here, which is now being put into the chat. Okay. That's my take on body language if you want to read about it. Also, there's a cool video between doctors confirming academic left bias. Oh yeah, I've got which one? Titled An Uncomfortable Conversation About Obesity. Timestamp. Oh, yeah. Actually, I follow Steve Stewart Williams and a few other guys that are sort of academics. Claire, what's her name? Forget the chick's name. Anyways, that's actually a pretty common thing right now. I would do a full dedicated episode to that, but I don't know how like well received that would be for the quote unquote red pill. But I think it needs to be done. Maybe me and Mike can do something about that. All right. So Thursday. This coming Thursday, which I believe is January 30th, we will have Access Vegas. That's coming up. So I'm not going to do any midweek shows this week because we have Access Vegas. I've decided that I'm going to do midweek shows when we have off weeks. So that's coming up. If you are interested in Reignite, my program, again, you don't have to be 45 years old. You can be younger. I work with mostly older guys, but if you're zeroed out and you're 28, we're not going to turn you away. It's myself and Joe Marin. We have our group called Reignite. Also, if you are interested in the Patreon group that I have, I do a once a month Patreon call for about 2 hours. If you go to my Patreon link, which is in the description below, you can sign up for it's the top tier. It's $200, and that's for 2 hours. Once a month, and I do a Zoom call, and those are my Patreon members. So I'm trying to do a drive for them right now because usually around the holidays, a lot of them fall off, and so now I've got kind of like open enrollment for Patreon. So if you want to be a part of my Patreon group and you want to get in, you have questions, it's usually the best and most affordable way to sort of like get in touch with me personally. You'll be in there. I think we've got 6 guys right now. I cap it at about a dozen. So again, open enrollment for Patreon is now available. So if you want to get in on that, the link is in the description. You have to go below the fold though. So click on more and then you'll get down there. And then if you're interested in Mike's Men of Action, I've got the link right there as well. I still work with these guys. So I don't really call myself an instructor, but like I do stuff with Mike on his MOA immersions and things like that. So if you become a part of MOA, you get me along with that, like live in-person stuff. And then Reignite, as I said before, is really meant for guys who are rebuilding themselves and coming back from being zeroed out. So if you're going through a bad divorce, if you just are sort of like you're one of the lost boys generation, you don't know what to do with yourself. You know, how do I focus on my relationships and my friend, whatever it is? This is your group. I say that with all confidence. Again, I don't do hard pitches that's why I save it towards the end of the class, the pod class. But if you're interested, and I don't have any upsales, so it is what it is. The price is what the price is. And then also books, please, if you haven't read The Rational Male, and I don't know why you wouldn't have, you can get that. All of my books are available on Amazon. And if you're not that reading kind of dude and you're a long haul trucker, if you drive a lot, I do have all of my books are available on Audible as well. So do check those out. Again, all links are in the description. But I'm still surprised these days how people like follow me everywhere and they like will watch this, or they'll follow me on Instagram, or they'll follow me on Twitter and they still haven't read the book. So you can get it from Amazon. It's been available for 12 years now. So you've had 12 years to read it. But please do. I will be releasing a new edition of the first book probably before March. So a hardback edition is in the works right now, and yes, the point size and the fonts will be bigger. I'm cleaning it up a little bit more. So do check that out, though. Go pick it up. It is available on Amazon, as is Audible. So check that out, and I will see you guys when I see you, dudes and dudettes. Hi, Sorlita. I just see you here at the end, but I'll see you guys later. Oh, one more thing. Last thing. If you're looking for this song, it is Jevani Sanders, and I put the link in the description. It is actually the real link now, and it's the Apple iTunes. It's not available on Spotify. It's only available on Apple. So that link, if you want to download this song, you can get it from Apple Music. And it's Jevani Sanders. And as I said, the link is in the description. Go get it today. Bye.
Would you do it again?
Hey, y'all.
I need to feel you on top of me. It was my first time.
Bye, Felicia.
But I was just a kid when we met and went to bed. It was my first time. What do you expect from me? I'm breaking up the rules now in the game. I've got some new tools. Please do the same. Time came by to win. Over like a matchbox stereo. Time to get my thoughts now, let go. Bound to keep me up all night. But maybe we can fuck again. And maybe things be different. God damn, baby, one more again. Won't you put it on me one more again? I need to know. If maybe we can fuck again, then maybe things be different. God damn, baby, one more again. The best in my life.
How dare you?
Now we're fucking in the bathroom, tearing up every wall while I got your hair. Why you screaming my name?
That's nasty. It is nasty, right? Isn't it nasty? Ugh.
She was swinging in the bedroom, whole time stopping and slipping with her hair like she's Claudia Kelly.
Well, I'm a whore.
Run me, ride me up and down like a pony, turning up my song, getting messy, working up and down on your body. Run me, ride me up and down like a pony, turning up my song on your body. Maybe we can fuck again.
God wants you to have the baby.
Definitely not.